Yes, and we're live. Hello, Danica Patrick.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
I'm excited to be here.
You're an intense lady. You got a lot of intensity. When I met you, like right away, I'm like, whoa, gotta take this one in.
Well, it's the handshake, and then it's the, when someone actually looks you in the eye.
Well, you have to be intense. I mean, what you do for a living is probably one of the craziest things a human being can do.
Do you think so?
It's up there. For a job, how fast do you go?
200
Yeah,
plus. I mean, NASCAR's top speed is probably 215. Indy cars, maybe more like 240.
Yeah,
and I'm going to do the Daytona 500 next month and then the Indy 500 in May. So those are going to be my last two races. So
The last ones ever?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's this is my Danica double goodbye tour.
Why are you doing that? How come you're doing a Danica double goodbye? Is it enough is enough?
I'm ready. I mean, I love racing, but I love other things too. So, I'm okay with transitioning out. And there was a lot of things that were kind of just pointing me in this direction.
Yeah.
In 2017, stuff that has never happened to me before. To kind of, head towards the exit a little bit. But I'm good with it. I'm a very decisive person. So this is probably one of them that I thought about a little bit as far as like how to be done or if to be done, I guess. But the how was the hardest part. My agent kept calling and saying, what about this? And what if you did that? And I'm like, no. You all need to get ready for me to be done, please.
Wow.
And so then he came up with he's like, what if you finish up at Daytona for the 500? And I was like, what about the Indy 500? And he goes, and I was really only referring to the Indy 500. And he was like, well, I'd love you to do both. And I was like, oh, well, that's a good idea. So there's this thing in racing called the double, which is doing the Indy 500 on Memorial Day weekend on Sunday and then flying straight to Charlotte to do the Coke 600 afterwards. And that's kind of known as the double. But this is what we're calling the Danica double, and it has to do with just having spent, a chunk of my career in IndyCar and a chunk of my career in NASCAR, and it just kind of feels like the right way to go out. I don't know. It wasn't clear. It was a bit of a murky end as far as like what's going to happen. Am I going to race next year full time or not? And it just kind of went too long for me to have like a proper I'm done sort of moment in my head. So this was just a great way to do it.
So when you say that things happened in 2017 that didn't happen before, like what do you mean?
Like I had a sponsor leave me. My primary sponsor left at the beginning of the year. I mean, I signed a contract when Mercury was in retrograde, so, I screwed myself there. But
You believe that stuff?
I don't know. It was true, so I guess. Maybe the universe is a little bit more straightforward than we think it is.
I think a lot of good things probably happened during that time.
In 2017 or during retrograde?
Mercury in retrograde.
Yeah.
I don't believe in any of that shit.
Oh, yeah.
I think people look for some sort of like hidden meaning to things when it comes to like astrology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do try and understand it. I'm trying to understand how it really matters, but I don't know. There's definitely some things, at least with the moon, that goes on. I mean, the water changes with the moon. So doesn't that mean that other things should too, whether it be energetically or something like that?
I think the water and the moon thing kind of makes sense a little bit. A little bit. Mm-hmm. But I think it's probably just like barely one way or the other.
Maybe it's a whisper on the wind kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's more in your head.
So stop putting my crystals outside to charge under the full moon. Maybe not so important.
I would say it's not that important. There was something someone sent me about the Army using crystals, and I was like, this has got to be like an Onion article, that the Army was using crystals for like medic. Think if you could find that.
Wait a second.
Yeah, this
for crystals
for wounded people. Yeah, look at this stupid shit. I'm not sure if it's real. U.S. Army's new holistic medics treating gunshot wounds with crystals and essential oils is satire. Thank you. Thank you. I knew it.
Essential oils, don't you think there's a plant that cures everything out there?
There probably is something like that in the Amazon. That maybe not cures everything, but there's probably a lot of stuff that we don't know about.
That's where essential oils come from, right?
Yeah.
So pair that up with some high vibrational stones.
High vibrational stones. Ooh.
I don't know.
Intense. So
back to my sponsor leaving me.
So your sponsor leaving you were like, that's it?
It's just never happened to me before. I've always been someone that's been really well funded and always had a sponsor always had a sponsor and never a
Right.
problem. And so, it was just things like that were happening. I got into a few big wrecks in a row, like probably 3 and 6 weeks that were,
Ooh.
like I was bawling in the medical center after the third one going, I was running like top 10 and a car blew a rotor and clipped me and put me in the wall. I was on fire. Another driver broke his back. I mean, it was a huge accident. And I'm like, what is the message? What is someone trying to tell me right now? And so, after I collected my shit and got my face looking like halfway decent to go talk to the media out there, I finally got out. But yeah, just stuff like that was happening. And I was in a very go with the flow mood in 2017. I wasn't pushing for anything because I wasn't really sure what I wanted. So I just let the universe take care of it.
You've got a very interesting way of looking at things. When things go wrong, you're like, what is the universe trying to tell me?
Mm-hmm.
You're not like, well, I drive really fucking fast for a living, and sometimes shit goes wrong.
That happens too.
I mean, it seems like car racing is just inherently crazy. I mean, it's what I was saying when I was saying you do one of the craziest things you can for a living. Going 240 miles an hour is no joke.
Yeah.
And metal and rubber and things just they have
you
tolerances.
You gotta trust in something when you're out there because you're doing, like you said, 200 plus miles an hour with people that aren't your friends around you, with walls around you as well. So you kind of gotta put your trust in something else.
Yeah, that's why I was getting at that, because I think the way you think is a lot. It's very similar to the way fighter pilots think. Fighter pilots have a lot of weird superstitions, and a lot of pilots do, and a lot of people that are involved in intense things. It's almost like, in order to get through the task at hand, you almost have to delegate certain aspects of reality to fate or to chance or to yeah.
I believe that. Yeah, I mean I have a tattoo on my back. One of it is it's an American flag. I got that when I was 19. It's like an American flag that fades to a checkered flag, and then there's and then I got that when I was 19. Then when I was about 27, I went and got the rest, which was angel wings and some stars. And it's not the most beautiful piece of art, but it means something to me. It won't be really beautiful in 30 years, I'm sure, 40. But yeah, my point is that I would definitely pray that, I was taken care of, and you got to hand that off and just go do your damn job and not be afraid and just trust in the fate of everything. And yeah, so that's kind of where the angel wings come in.
Well, I think that people that do inherently risky things oftentimes look for signs or look for some sort of some direction, some message from the universe, and that's why I was.
Well, I mean, I feel like as a race car driver, I've thought about this a lot lately, and I wonder how much of our job is a little less even just feeling what's happening, and how much is actually maybe more intuitive. Like maybe we're having more intuitive understanding of what's going on and what's coming than we realize. We just are so everything's happening so fast, and that you just think, oh, I have a really good feel, I mean, I'm sure there's some of that too, but so I think that maybe athletes or people at an elite level are more in touch with that intuitive side, that finite, like last thread of feel. Maybe it's beyond feel. Maybe it's a knowing.
That makes sense. I mean, if you think about the amount of time that you've spent involved in that intense activity in this, they say that people get road rage. For one of the reasons why people get road rage is because when you're driving, you are reacting to things that could happen instantaneously, very quickly. So your body is at a very heightened state. And people, someone cuts you off, they start freaking out like instantly. They go from 1 to 10 right away. And the reason is because they're always at 7. And they don't even realize they're at 7 when you're in the car. Well, you're probably at like 13.
This one goes to 11.
Yeah. You're cranked up, right?
Yeah.
And so you're probably seeing things and feeling things that the average person, they don't experience in their life.
100%. Yeah. You're just working at that top level of feeling of focus. What is that?
Addictive?
Is that where you call like in the zone?
Yeah.
Where it kind of almost becomes slightly out of body. You don't even know how it's happening. It's just happening.
Well, I would imagine like you kind of melt away and you're just completely involved in the task.
When I think about what I have to do, like let's say as an example, coming in for a pit stop and you got your throttle, brake, clutch, gears, all the different things that you have to do. To think about it logically, what you have to do is so much more confusing than just going on instinct of like, just do it. Because you have to, you only have 2 feet, but you have 3 pedals, and you have to use all 3 pedals at some point in time. But you want to be ready for everything, and you're coming in like with the clutch in on the brake, but then you have to get to the throttle just in time. But you have to have the clutch in, and you have to hold the brake so you make sure you don't roll. There's all kinds of things you have to do using all 3 pedals, but you have 2 feet. And so when you have to think about what you have to do, it's a little more overwhelming than just doing it.
Do you drive a manual in real life?
I would. I love it. Easy.
Yeah, I do too. But
do you?
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people, it seems like it's kind of a dying thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, even Indy cars went to paddle shifting before I was done. It was H pattern, and then it was sequential gearbox, and then it was paddle shifting, and then. But NASCAR still got the old H pattern.
That left leg is important for the whole feel of the thing, right?
Well, especially in an Indy car. In an Indy car, you actually have a full-on dead pedal. So you have all 3 pedals, and then you have a dead pedal, which is important because you spend a lot of time with your foot there, but it is part of the feel. It is absolutely part of the feel of the car, especially with all the G-loads.
How did you get involved in racing?
I raced go-karts when I was a kid. My sister wanted to race go-karts, and I just didn't want to get left out. So turned out I was all right at it, and I kept going.
But it's a very unusual path.
Yeah,
right?
Well, I mean, I did everything though. I played like coach pitch, then t-ball. I was in the band, the choir. I took voice lessons. I played basketball, volleyball, cheerleading. I played in every sport. I took tumbling classes, and then I also tried racing.
So you've always been intense.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you know at a certain age that you wanted to be a race car driver?
Well, when I was 10, I decided that I wanted to go to college for engineering so I could learn how to work on my race car. And I realized I did not have to do that. I did not have to do that. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wow.
Yeah.
You
I
want to
didn't have
learn
to
to be an engineer so that you could work on your race car. Do you understand how crazy that is?
When I was to be 10 years old, to be thinking that? Well, I don't know. Do you think you're born that way, or am I an old? Like, what do you think about that? Like, to be thinking that way when I'm 10 years old. Like, some people are just so much different or more mature, further along. Is it? Why do you think that is?
It's a very good question. I think it's entirely possible that memory gets transferred through DNA, and that there are certain people that have a long line of adventurous people in their family, and that gets transferred to the DNA of the children. I think it's entirely possible. I have 3 children.
Not a spiritual reincarnation.
No, maybe. I mean, look, that's entirely possible too. I would never say no to that, because if you're living this life, I mean, nobody asked to live this life. You're just here, right? Mm-hmm. Who knows if you get to do it again? I mean, we're assuming that you don't get to do it again because we're assuming that time goes on in this sort of linear way. But maybe it just does for you in this life. I mean, it's entirely possible that there's infinite number of lives being lived out in infinite timelines all simultaneously. We're just experiencing this one. And we don't even know what happens when we sleep. You go to sleep, you close your eyes, you have some crazy dream about Godzilla chasing you when you're on a skateboard. You wake up in the morning and you just assume that you're on the same timeline that you were on before. Because you have
not on the astral.
Who knows? I don't. I have children, and then one of the things that's really fascinating about watching a child develop from a baby to a kid and see their personality is like you realize like there's a lot of stuff that's what they come with.
Yeah,
they're just
exactly
different.
what I'm saying. So if they're just different, why? Why was I thinking about being an engineer when I was 10 years old? Why was I brave enough to go live in England by myself when I was 16 and all good with it? And why am I intent? Why was I intense when you met me?
You're wired that way.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, I think part of your intensity is probably, if I had to guess, if I could be presumptuous, you're a woman involved in a very manly activity, and I'm sure men probably test you in some sort of a weird way. And so I bet along the way you've developed this sort of like way of addressing them right away, like a listen, motherfucker. Like,
sometimes just like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably have to. I would imagine
you have to be strong. I remember when I was younger and going to meetings with companies or team bosses, people like that, and the advice given was don't say, oh, I think this and maybe, like, you be sure about what you want. And I remember that. So, yeah, nature versus nurture. Some of it's learned, but some of it's just there.
Yeah, you can't turn a timid person into you. Maybe you could, but I mean, it's not likely. You seem to be like this person. This is just who you are.
Yeah.
And if you're telling me that at 10 years old you were thinking about being an engineer so you could work on race cars, that's not normal.
Yeah.
I mean, what's normal though?
What'd you want to do when you were 10 years old?
I had no idea. I probably wanted to be an artist. I think I wanted to be an artist.
I mean, that's kind of that follows this vein.
Sort of, yeah. But like I used to want to draw comic books. I did a lot of that. Yeah, so that was probably what I wanted. But I was never like, what I need to do is like I need to figure out a way to make my hands stronger so that I draw faster. Like you seem to be
well,
like.
let's keep in mind, I did not go to college. In fact, I didn't even finish high school.
You didn't at all?
Nope. I left when I was 16 and I got my GED.
Wow, why'd you do
that? And
that?
I failed the first time.
Wow.
You want to know why?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because that's like a horrible, like, I failed my GED. Oh, geez. The Constitution test is something, at least in Illinois, I don't know if you have to pass it in every state, but in Illinois you do. And so in 8th grade, to go to high school, you have to get a 70% or above to go to high school. I got a 70. So I went to high school. Now, I'm like a 3.5 and above student. Like, I was A's and B's. Not a problem. For some reason, the Constitution and government and all of those sectors and names and holy moly, it's so confusing to me. So so then when it came time to take my GED, I didn't study at all. I just took the test and I failed the Constitution test. So
you just didn't prepare for it. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I've never studied in my life, so I just
for anything.
No.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-mm. The only thing I study if I'm doing a speech. Or if I'm doing something for a company, for a sponsor, and I need to make sure that I have my talking points ready, I mean, I spend 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 5 minutes making sure that I'm organized in my head about what it is that I need to get out there so that I can do my job and deliver. But other than that, I never studied in school. Keep in mind, I didn't have to go to school that long.
That's true.
I mean, I only went to school until I was 16. So it's been a really, really, really long time since I went to school.
But you're very smart.
Oh, I don't know. See,
you're smart.
Thank you. Well,
but do you read?
I want to start reading more. I've got a lot of books that I want to read. I started reading a book called The Holographic Universe.
Okay, Michael Talbot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good book.
Is it?
It's weird. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that. You're like, wait a minute, is this guy on drugs? Like,
Probably.
There's a lot of woo-woo in there, I think.
I'm a little woo-woo, so it's good. I mean, simple books like The Alchemist and stuff. I just really want to read these books. I mean, and yeah.
That's more woo-woo.
Yeah.
You're into woo-woo shit.
Yeah, I am.
Why? Do you think that is the race car thing? Do you think that's like the...
No, it has nothing to do with racing.
That's just who you are?
That's just who I am. I remember getting a psychic reading when I was 18 years old, living in England. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I bought like Linda Goodman's Love Signs, like astrology book when I was a kid.
So when you were 16 and you got a psychic reading...
I mean, I totally had a mood ring.
Oh, mood rings are great.
Sorry, go ahead.
What did they tell you? Did they tell you anything you didn't
remember. I can't remember, but when I was talking about signing my contract and when Mercury was in retrograde, that was I talked to an astrologer and she said, just don't sign any contracts. And I was like, well, what a bizarre. I mean, I was kind of learning about some of this stuff because it was quite a few years ago now, but I remember the next it was a year and a half later or so, and shit hit the fan, and I was like, that damn astrologer was right. Now, okay, Mercury in retrograde is pretty standard information if you're into astrology at all, but yeah. She said, I saw a psychic in Sedona a few years ago, and she said that professionally over the next 4 years, your life's going to go boom, 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 boom. And I thought, man, I'm going to win a bunch of races. This is going to be awesome. And instead, I have a clothing line now. I have a book that just came out at the beginning of the year. My wine's finally been for sale for a year now. And there's other projects I'm working on too. But, finishing off my career in a pretty big way. So I guess she was right.
I think that lady's full of shit. And
You
I
think
think she
so?
took a guess. I think she looked at you and like, this chick's going to kick ass. I'll just make some
So do you think
predictions.
she recognized me then? She's like, okay, so when I sat down, she was like, all right, the way it works here is like, I just see words or symbols or things around you. So if I just look around, like, don't think I'm not paying attention to you. I'm just how I see things. And so I'm like, all right.
Right.
So I'm sitting there. She's telling me all this stuff. And she says, whatever my job is, I travel a lot and things like that. And then she all of a sudden kind of was looking at me. She looked over. She goes, celebrity. Are you a celebrity? And I was like, I only am if you think I am, which is usually how I answer people. So I don't know. Did she know who I was? I don't know.
Probably.
Up in Sedona, they don't watch a lot of TV, I don't think.
You don't think so?
No.
They do.
I don't know.
They do. They sneak it
Maybe.
in when no one's looking. They just,
Their lunch break areas, just, you know.
They rest their crystals on the TV. I just think
hopefully
it's
sending positive vibes.
almost all bullshit. I think almost all psychic stuff is bullshit. I think
You don't believe in in being intuitive?
I think
and-
intuition is a different thing. I
Really?
think when people sit
That's
down
not
and
the
they
same?
go, "I see you in a past life, and you were a handmaid, and you worked by the river," like, get the fuck out of here. I think that's all bullshit. I think those people are just nuts, and there's a lot of people that want to think they're special, and they want to think that they
That's
have special
true.
gifts. And
Sure.
and
Everybody does.
People get really good at reading people. I know people who are professional magicians, and they are expert cold readers. They could sit down with you and read and tell you remarkable amounts of things with about your life, just with your answers to questions.
Huh.
But they'll tell you right away. They're not psychic. Like, there's a guy named Danica who's excellent at it. He's fantastic. He does a show in Vegas, and he freaks people out.
Wow.
But he'll tell you right away, I am not a psychic. He's like, there's techniques to this. And it's something I've been doing my whole life, and you just get really good at it, and he knows how to do it. And these people are con artists. They're con artists. They trick you into thinking that they have, but they might even believe it themselves. That's part of the problem. A lot of those people con themselves. But I think there is something. Like when you're thinking about someone and they call you, like out of nowhere, and you haven't talked to them
Those
forever.
kinds of synchronicities that pop up in your life. And you're like, oh my God, I was thinking about that movie, and there it is on TV.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that there's some bizarre connection that we don't totally understand to events and to people and to things.
Well, like attracts like, or where
Yes.
attention goes, energy flows.
Yeah, there's probably a lot to that.
Certain magnetism to those things that bring it together.
Yes.
Maybe.
But I think it's very, very poorly understood, and there's a lot of woo that's clouding it up. And that woo gets in the way of rational, logical, educated people even considering it. They dismiss it instantaneously because it's connected to so many assholes with neon signs that say card reader, palm reader, and these people that they're just ripping you off. That's all they're doing. They don't have a real job. They sit down, they talk to people for a job. And, you could say it's entertainment. You could say that what they're doing is they're providing you with a service, and that service, they sit down with
Sure.
you, and maybe by telling you that everything's going to be amazing, you'll walk out of there with a lot of enthusiasm, and then life will be amazing. Who knows?
Do you believe that? If you think your life's going to be amazing, it will be?
No, you get
You
hit by a
don't?
meteor. You could walk out of the house. You could fall into a crack in the ground from an earthquake. I mean, those people that died in the tsunami in Thailand, were they bad people? No, they
So is there any level of woo that's worth following through on?
I think it's all things. I think some of the connections and the intuition and some superstitions and ideas that we have are probably based in this limited understanding that we have in the connection that we have to events and humans and life. But I think there's also bullshit involved too. And all these things get very cloudy. I don't think there's an absolute. But I think it's entirely possible that intuition is a developing sense that we don't totally have yet. I think if you think about all the things that people can do, hearing and seeing and touching and smelling and all the different senses that we have, we assume that covers the full gamut of possibilities, but I don't think that's true.
No, I think you're right.
And I
mean,
think we're
even just
probably evolving.
visually, we don't see the full spectrum of, we see a very, very small amount of things that are out there.
Yeah, and audio as well. We can't hear all the sounds. Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible that there's more going. Like, there's certain people that just have a weird feel to them. You meet them, you're like, I just got to get away from this guy.
Bad vibe.
Yeah,
right?
there's definitely people that they're giving off weird feelings, and it could be that you're reading their intent in some sort of a way that you don't see visually, but you recognize by their body language, or there could be a bunch of things at play.
Well, you
there.
didn't run when you met me, so
No.
I'm appreciate that.
No,
I mean, I know
liked
we're
you.
probably scheduled to do this interview, so you couldn't, but
I was looking forward to this. Why would I run? I mean, I was impressed by your intensity, but I expected that in a way. I mean, I don't
Good.
see how you could be a race car driver and not be intense, especially be a woman and a race car driver and not be intense.
Well, that's nothing I even thought about until I was like 14. For the first few
way
years
late
of
in
racing.
life.
Way late in life. I didn't even think about being a girl out there. It wasn't until I had cameras following me around my schools and stuff that I was like, all right, maybe this is. And then they start asking you about it. They're like, what's it like to be a girl? You're like, shit, I don't know, I haven't really thought about that.
How many other girls do it?
I mean, there are various girls here and there, but, you know.
Like in all of NASCAR, how many women are racing?
At my level? None.
Yes, 0.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh,
That's pretty crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I'm just
crazy.
used to it.
Well, take it from me. I'm
When
on the
people ask
outside.
me what's it like to be a girl in racing, I'm like, well, I don't really know what it's like to be a guy, so, you know, I only have my perspective.
That's true.
You know, I mean,
Right.
I don't know, like being a girl versus a guy. What's the difference? I don't know. What's it
Right.
like to be a guy?
Yeah, it'd probably be different. But I think that, like, what's it like to be a woman that's the only woman who's in NASCAR at your level? That's a valid question. I mean, that's crazy. How does everybody else treat you?
Yeah, that really is the main question I can't answer because I'm not them, and
Right.
I know that from enough experience now, because I used to not really look into it much, and in the IndyCar days, you couldn't hit each other. You know, I mean, it was, you know, you could block and things like that. So there was some guys out there that were assholes, and I didn't like them. But you know, sometimes every driver has some other drivers that they don't really get along with, and so. But in NASCAR, you can hit each other, and you have bumpers, and which is really cool. But it also isn't cool because if somebody wants to do it, they can. So. What would I say? I would say that they don't want to get passed by a girl. And you know what? I don't either. Is that weird?
No.
I really don't. I mean, I've raced with girls, and I don't like it.
So do you do you feel differently when a guy passes you than when a girl passes you?
Probably. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
In what way?
Well,
Do you just go internally, that bitch?
I'm like, I can't believe my car isn't faster right now. This sucks.
But if it's a guy that passes you,
But then there are
it's
other
just a
cars
race.
that are not good that I'm like, you know, come on the radio and I'll be like, yeah, I just want you to see what car passed me and how bad my car is right now. So it happens with guys too, but you know, I don't know. It's just a cultural norm that girls aren't good and aren't very good, and that they somewhat don't belong. And I get like the little bit of animosity at first, but I would have thought that people would have got used to it a little bit more than they did.
So, but you have that cultural animosity, you were saying.
A little bit, yeah.
but-
And I don't know where it comes from.
But when you say that it's a cultural norm that girls aren't good, you don't think about that about yourself.
No,
Yeah, see, I knew that.
no,
You don't have any doubts.
no. I look
Right.
at everyone out there. I'm like, you suck because of this, and I'm going to beat you because of that, and
Right.
oh God, I hate you. And,
You don't
know.
think because I'm a girl, I'm not as good as them.
No, not at all.
So why would you think that about the other girl?
I don't know. It's because I'm not used to it, right? You just something you're not used to.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, well, also it's like you're unique.
I mean, what if you were out there in the gym and some girl comes and picks up more weight than you, and you're like, oh, that's weird.
I'd be like, that bitch is on roids. She's gotta be.
She probably would
Or
be,
she's
but
some Amazon, some freak, some genetic freak. I'd try to sign her. I'd
Yeah.
bring her to the UFC.
Yeah,
I'd be
no
like, listen,
kidding.
do you know how to throw a punch?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we all have cultural prejudices, you
Yeah,
know, to a
just-
certain extent, whether we admit it or not. And you know, maybe you're not a bigot. Maybe you just have reservations, and you're pleasantly surprised when people surpass those expectations.
Yeah.
You know, but I would think that you would experience probably more discrimination as a woman than. I mean, if you think about a woman doing almost any other job, like if you're telling me you're the only woman that does that, and you're at this intense macho job, this is a fucking intense job. I mean, you're going 200 miles an hour. Blah, blah, blah. It's nuts. That's a crazy job. And you're out there
Yeah.
at the top of the food chain with all these men.
Yeah.
I would imagine there's two things that happen. There's a bunch of guys that treat you with respect. They're like, wow. They're like
Cool.
impressed.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah. They're cool with you. They're like,
Yep.
she's one of us.
That's right.
And then there's a few that are just dicks. And and those dicks are just incorrigible.
Man, the amount of times I wish I was good at taking people out. I wish people knew how hard it was to actually take someone out on track. It's not that easy.
You would, because you can risk
Risk yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if your car doesn't handle very well, you can't get close enough to them. If you could, you would just move the air, which is almost like hitting them, and get them out of the way. But sometimes the car doesn't handle well enough. So, like, you'd have to just bomb in there and, God willing, you hit them to get you to slow down, and then they go sailing and you keep going, but it's risk.
That's a rare moment, right?
Yeah.
Have you done that before?
Oh, I've tried to take people. I suck at it. I absolutely suck at it. I have taken myself out like 3 times trying to do it. I mean, look, I'll be the lamb. I don't mind to make a point.
So you do that to make a point if someone's driving like a dick?
Yeah.
Look at you, you're like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There was what was the one that was the most sad was it was a couple of years ago. It was at Martinsville, and this is when something was going down with, it was Matt Kenseth and Joey Logano, and it was during the chase, which is the last 10 races of the season, and they were in the chase, Matt and Joey, and Joey had made it so that Matt couldn't get in because he took him out a week or 2 earlier, and then they got to Martinsville, and it's a very, very small short track. It's just a half a mile, and so it's easy to kind of be able to attack if you want to, and so he just straight took him out, and there was a whole big hoopla about it. People up in arms, thought it was totally unfair, and anyway, during the same race, some asshole hits me, spins me out, and so I come back and I'm a lap down or something because he spins me out, and I go to take him out, and I just sail off into the corner. He manages to kind of keep going. I spin again because I'm horrible at it, and turns out that I get a $50,000 fine because I am. I'm not racing for position because I was a lap down. And they applied that because that was also the same race that Matt and Joey had their big thing. And I think maybe Joey was leading or something like that. I think he was leading and it was on a restart. So they weren't racing for position either. So that was kind of like their rule that they put forth to make for, Matt probably got $100,000 or $200,000 fine. But there I am, I'm definitely screwed in this scenario. So I got fined $50,000 for it, and I'm the one that's out.
So if you're racing for a position, then it's okay to bump into each other?
Apparently, yeah. So really, you're the one that's screwed because if someone takes you out and then you're still racing for a position, now you're going to have to be potentially, putting yourself in another position to get taken out when they started it. It's a no-win for the person that's being aggressed by the aggressor.
Was it always legal to bump into each other?
It's gone kind of through waves of different rules, but yeah, it is legal.
But whenever a big accident happens and there's a tragedy, I would assume that's when they tighten down the rules.
Sometimes.
Sometimes not?
Sometimes
they just
not.
accept that
Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it's just, usually if there's something like that happens, it's not from one person's action, that it's maybe a chain of events that leads to something like that.
It's one of the rare jobs that you do that's a sport, one of the rare sports, where the potential for death is always there. Yeah,
that's true. It is true.
Is that one of the reasons why you decided, enough is enough?
I am not a daredevil. I am not a daredevil. I went bungee jumping, and that is the bravest thing I've ever done otherwise. And I only did it because I'm afraid of heights, so I just needed to know that if I had to conquer a fear, I could.
Well, what's your definition of a daredevil? You're a race car
to do things
driver.
where you could potentially get hurt. I'm not, though. That's true.
Yeah, but you're a race car driver.
I know, but I'm a methodical driver. I'm methodical. I don't go out there and just, hold it wide open until the car does something, and then I'm like, oh, better lift now. I'm like a methodical driver, so I build up.
Well, I think what you're saying is you're not stupid.
Thank you, Joe. That's very nice of you. That's a really, really nice way to say that.
Yeah, you're not dumb, but you're definitely a daredevil.
Thank you. Well,
you have to be.
I'm not.
There's no way you could not be.
I'm just not. I'm serious.
You drive 200 miles an hour
Anybody that really
for a living.
knows me knows that I'm not brave.
Oh, wow, that's so crazy.
I know.
I think you're talking crazy.
Crazy talk over here. Well, it's true. I just have been grooming this talent since I was 10, and 26 years later, I'm okay with it.
I think it's both of those things, but I think there's no doubt that you're a brave person.
Actually, my first time in a go-kart was horrible.
What were you, 3?
10. 10. And my sister was 8. My dad built the go-karts. There was a big parking lot out back. So we got like spray cans, WD-40, whatever, pop cans, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, I grew up in the Midwest, so pop. And set them up in a big circle for my sister and I to go out and drive around and drive our go-karts for the first time. And my dad there was a little mistake with the brake pedal, and so it stopped working. And since I'm 10 and I'm really young and dumb and I don't know what I'm doing, young, dumb, and broke, I guess I was, yeah, like the song goes. But I went to hit the brake, it wasn't there, so instead of just spinning out or continuing to turn, I just went straight, and I was headed for a trailer, like kind of a higher elevated trailer, which would have resulted in decapitation. And I swerved at the last second and hit a concrete wall, and I like go flying, and my arm lays back on the muffler, and my cool puffy jacket burns, and like I bruises all up my legs and on my arms, and that was my first time in a go-kart within 5 or 10 minutes of being out there. And so my dad just got a new one and built it, and we went racing. So maybe I am really brave. I don't know. You're right. Maybe it's. I always felt like in IndyCar, to some degree, I wasn't brave because people were willing to do things that were perceivably more brave. But I did describe them as dumb. You're right.
Yeah.
So you're probably a little right, and I'm maybe a little right too. But you're right.
I think you're definitely brave, but I think there's definitely a line where bravery becomes stupid because the risk outweighs the reward.
100%.
Yeah, and
100%.
that's a masculine thing in a lot of ways because it's testosterone makes you do really stupid shit.
Does it?
Yeah,
Like what?
yeah. Well, they're all competing against each other and they're trying to out macho each other. I mean, you could go. There's a bunch of Twitter accounts you can go and see. What's that one? Hold This Beer. Yeah. There's a Twitter account called Hold My Beer.
While I do what?
Well, exactly. While I do everything.
Oh,
It's like people
doing dumb
jumping off
stuff.
roofs and
Oh.
stupid shit. And it's almost all men. There's occasionally a drunk girl doing something stupid, but it's almost entirely men. So I would think that men trying to out
Are
macho
you
each
saying
other.
men are somewhat inferior then? Because they do a lot of dumb stuff? Maybe their hormones are not in balance like ours?
They definitely, when competing against each other, will do dumb shit.
You think that's a
and they try to-
testosterone?
yeah.
Testosterone's to blame?
Well, they try to out macho each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some don't. Some are smart and they don't. But, it's just a part of being a man. It's like trying to prove that you're not scared.
What else is part of being a man? Tell me about men.
Well, what do you want to know?
I don't know. What else is very manly that women don't understand? What don't women understand about men?
That's a good question. I have no idea what you understand about us.
Maybe just speak from experience.
Yeah, but I don't know what.
Like if we ask a guy, like, what's wrong?
Oh, see, that's just nonsense talk. See, that's the.
Like,
What's
how many
wrong?
girls out there are like, honey, what's wrong?
What's wrong?
And you're like, nothing.
Sometimes
But
it's nothing.
really? Is it really nothing?
Yeah, sometimes you just want to like decompress.
Okay.
Sometimes you just wound
So
up.
is that annoying when a girl does that?
Depends on the girl. you know?
What do you mean?
It depends on the girl. If she's annoying, yeah, it's annoying. But if you're in love with her and she's awesome,
Then she
and
can
she's
ask
like, "What's
anything you
wrong?"
want?
You're like, "Oh, nothing. We're good." Yeah. It depends
So
entirely.
be with the right one?
Oh, 100%. That's 100% it. Yeah. If someone's asking you questions and you're getting really fucking annoyed, it's probably not the question. It's probably more the person. If you
shit.
think someone's amazing and they ask you something stupid, you'll just laugh. You won't get annoyed, and you guys can both joke around about how stupid it was, how the question was dumb.
I like it. That's
If
good.
you get angry, it's most likely you're just like
Annoyed
you're
anyway.
incompatible. Yeah.
So you're just like ready to sort of fall over that annoying and to get out of my space kind of attitude because you're
Yeah.
already annoyed with them anyway. You already
Well,
don't really like them.
Yeah, there's probably something that's already rubbing you the wrong way, and you're tolerating each other instead of enjoying each other. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine a person like you, a very intense person, you probably have a difficult time finding, if you get a square peg and a square hole, and everything slides in together perfect, and everything's amazing, personality-wise, behavior-wise. I would imagine with someone like you, like it's very particular. You have to find someone who appreciates your intensity. Right?
Yeah. You
Like
do.
a lot of times guys they want a demure, sort of like docile little creature. Like, oh, hi. How you doing, boys?
Whatever you need, I'll be home.
Well,
Supper's on the table.
We'll be here when you get back. right? And meanwhile, you're out there with a fucking go-kart going 150 miles an hour in the driveway.
Yep. Running 5 businesses.
Yeah,
and, you know,
you're
going 200.
Yeah, so if you're saying what's wrong, the guy's like, fucking nothing. It's probably a bunch of other shit that's really wrong.
It's very insightful.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So what don't men understand about women? She's tapping her fingers and going through it. Everything.
I mean, I just think that we like to be, we like to be told what you're thinking. I do. I like to know what someone's thinking. You know, the whole we're just, just keeping to myself. Like, tell me about it. No, I want to know what yourself is thinking about. I want to know about you. What's going through your head? Like communication.
Now, is this universal amongst all your girlfriends when you get together and talk about?
I would think so. Yeah. Yeah.
So the problem is, like, you look at a guy and say, you really like this guy, and you're like, this fucking dude's some crazy mystery. Like, what's going on in your head, man?
Yeah, that's not good.
Spit it out.
Everyone wants to know where they stand and what someone's thinking.
Oh, where they stand.
Well, and where they stand and what they're thinking, because,
Right.
What if they're thinking about someone else?
Oh, so you need to know.
What if they're, you just
I need to know if you're all in.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm just an all-in person, so for me, it's not a mystery. Like, you want to know what's going on in my head? I'll tell you right now.
That's intense. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, if a guy's, like, off drifting, you automatically assume, this motherfucker's thinking about somebody else.
Yeah, what are you up to? Exactly, that's what you're thinking. Yeah, exactly. You want to be able to ask.
I guess guys probably do that, too.
And
But
girls like to
sitting
hear
there-
nice things, too. Girls like to hear, girls like to be, girls like,
Of course.
to be appreciated, just like a guy does. I mean, I think that's my advice most of the time in relationships. I'm like, sympathy goes a really long way, because I know it goes a long way with me no matter what facet of my life it is. But, sympathy goes a long way. So, if your husband's in a bad mood, then why don't you just actually start off with, instead of feeling like you're underappreciated, going, hey, baby, you look like you've had a really long day, and I'm sure you've been working your butt off. Like, can I make you dinner? Like, what do you want? What's your favorite? And they'll probably go, oh, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. You know what, babe? I'm fine. Hey, let me take you out to dinner. I get to eat. The sympathy gets sympathy back, and you don't. It's not good to do it to get it necessarily, but you should really feel like you are sympathetic. Like, if they're in a bad place, try and help them.
That's sound advice.
Yeah.
Be nice to each other.
Just sympathy.
Just be nice.
Because most people go underappreciated, especially in a relationship. I think the longer it goes, there's a lot of underappreciation and assumptions that get made about who does what and checks that box off. And
yeah, and people
it's
get
probably
used
especially
to
with
each
kids,
other.
right? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure with kids it gets way worse.
It's just there's a lot of time that's involved with taking care of those little suckers. You got to pay attention to them and talk to them, and if you have more than one, like once you start talking to one, the other one wants to just chime in, and show you what they're doing. And
You're like,
then
wait,
you
I
gotta,
was
hang
busy
on a
just trying to make sure
second.
you don't die,
Yeah.
and now I got to deal with this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people get used to things, and that's a part of the problem. It's like they get used to each other.
Taken for granted.
Yeah, they do. And then it's like I always tell people, aspire to be the person you pretend to be when you're trying to get laid. If you could be that person all the time, you would have a much
That's
better
true.
life.
That's
If you just
true.
like,
I also love the expression, for every hot chick, there's a dude sick of screwing her.
yeah, I don't say it that way, but yes, I use more flavorful language. But yeah,
Was that too much or too little?
too little.
Oh.
Yeah.
How would you say it?
For every hot chick, there's a guy somewhere that's tired of fucking her.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how you would say it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I guess, but that's not entirely true either.
No, it's
I
not.
mean, for the most part, a lot of the times it's true. But a lot of the times people don't
But that's the
appreciate
taken for
their
granted
circumstances.
part.
Exactly. And then it's with various aspects of your life. Like I always feel like that. Like I just got over the flu. A week and a half ago, I had the flu, and I was sick for like 2 days. And then when I was sick, I was thinking, man, I don't appreciate how good I feel when I'm healthy. Because here I am lying here all aching, watching Netflix, feeling like shit, going, wow, when I'm healthy and I'm working out and I'm running and doing jujitsu and all the activities, and I got all this energy and I feel great. Like I
You
just
can't do anything right now.
I just take it for granted.
You do?
You
Yeah.
forget, like, the joy of just being healthy. It just escapes us. We just so think it's normal. 'Cause
Just
most
like a
of the time you're
person, you
healthy.
take them for granted.
Yep. Now, do you think that you're stepping away from race car driving, when you deciding just like enough is enough, do you think that in some ways that this is you appreciating other aspects of life too? That you're looking at your racing thing and you're like, you know what? I did a lot. I did enough. And then why don't I just appreciate all the other stuff?
Well, I think that's a good question that leaded me into a good thought. Like, I think it's actually more me being honest. Like, I think everyone would expect, since I do what I do at the level that I do it at, that racing is my only thing I care about. I love it so much. I'll do anything. I drive every day. And the truth is, no. I like racing, but there's a lot of things I don't really like about it too. And I'm grateful for everything it's given me. But if you were to ask me what I do outside of racing in my personal life, I don't go to the racetrack. I don't really watch races. I don't do that. So those aren't my hobbies. Like, your hobbies are your real loves.
What do you not like about it?
Well, I would say that in the last year or so, as far as an energetic space, it's just so sad and negative at a lot of the time. And even in just racing in general, most of the time it's miserable. Like, you have some days that are good, but most of the time it's not happy, and you wish there was you're not satisfied. You wish somebody would have treated you better out there. There's so many things to be negative about, and just the grind of it. It's the people, like, everybody's worn out, and you have to be really careful about the people that are around you, because they've got to be in a good mood, because it's easy to spiral out of control, because you see each other 3-4 days a week every week for 40 weeks a year. So you got to be in a good space with people, but it still doesn't alienate you completely, even if you're in a good space with people, the ones next to you, because you got a car next to you on both sides in the garage, and haulers next to each other, and buses right next to each other, and you see a bunch of other people. So, it's just, I don't know, there's a lot of negativity to some degree, a lot of grind. It just kind of feels like the grind a little bit. So I just kind of felt like it wasn't a space that I wanted to be in as much anymore. Like, I want to be in a happy space where I'm just doing things that bring me joy. And, it wasn't doing that as much, or I was noticing it. I was noticing I was missing that, or wanting it more. I think that's really what it comes from, is growing as a person and realizing, I think everybody's afraid to take chances and do something new in their life because they're identified a certain way, or they'll be judged if they don't do it, or judged if they do something different. And who are they now? And are they crazy? And what are they thinking? And, it's just life. Just do things that make you happy. It's
interesting because you're talking about this, and the negative aspects of it is all interpersonal relationships. It's all talking to people. You're not talking about the grind of racing itself, like the heat of being in the car, and the strain and the intensity and the nerves. You're not talking about that.
Yeah, I didn't. That's not the first thing. I mean, that exists on some level, but I mean, that's fine. I work out twice a day a lot of times, so I'm okay with the whole,
you work out twice a day?
Physical grind of things. Yeah.
What do you do?
CrossFit and like interval running, training, sprinting, stuff like that. Circuits.
Twice a day?
Interval stuff. Yeah. A couple days a week I do twice a day, maybe.
More intensity.
Yeah, very intense for sure. Yeah, that's the name of the game. I mean, get in, get out. So I mean that is part of it. The physical part of racing exists, and it is exhausting, but I mean, you recover from that every weekend. But it's just, and I just love so many other things.
Like, what are you going to do now?
Well, the longest project I have is my wine. I bought the property in 2009, planted a vineyard, and it's finally for sale. So it's called...
So you started in 2009, so 9 years of doing this?
Bought the property, planted it. Yep, started from nothing. So it came from, in 2006, I went to Napa Valley on a trip and was on this beautiful property and was like looking at the fog in the valley, and it was wonderful quiches and fruits for breakfast and this amazing white wine. And I was like, man, it would be so cool if I could have something like this someday, but I don't have $50 million. At least not right now, anyway. And because I never abandoned the thought that I would be able to afford that someday. I couldn't then. So anyway, I just started the process a different way. I didn't buy a wine that was built and established with a vineyard. I bought dirt, planted the vineyard.
Now, how do you go about doing that? Do do you hire someone?
Well, that day I met a winemaker who ended up going into consulting instead of just being at one winery, and so he actually helped me pick the property. He's still my winemaker today.
So you buy this piece of land, and then like who does the day-to-day stuff? You're so busy.
Yeah, I have a GM now who handles all of it and does the promotion and gets it in restaurants and helps sell it.
What's it called?
Somnium, which is a Latin word means dream.
Wow.
Yeah. I was looking at some language translations I was probably trying to come up with some sort of an LLC or something like that to cover the property up. And I was like, oh no, this is way too cool. This is what the wine should be called. So Somnium, it's a Latin word.
And are you doing red and white or just white?
So red to start. The vineyard is Cabernet, Cab Franc, and Petit Verdot, and so from the Cab Franc and Petit Verdot bleed off, we're going to make a rosé this year, and then we also source some grapes from Knights Valley to make a Sauvignon Blanc. So we just decided it was going to come out in the spring along with the Cab early release and the rosé, but it needed some time in barrel, so we're going to wait a little longer and put it in barrel.
That's fascinating. So that must take a shitload of your time and thinking as well.
Honestly, that's probably the least amount of my time.
Really?
That company.
But I would imagine if you have this giant investment, you got this guy working.
Oh, it's a giant investment.
I would
for sure.
imagine.
Yeah.
And you have someone working for you. They're growing grapes.
I have 2 employees and farmers that farm it. Not full. I mean, they farm many other properties, but yeah.
Were you affected at all by the crazy fires up there?
No, actually, I was really lucky. The Napa Valley fires were. I'm on Silverado Trail side up. It's actually very, very close to Howell Mountain Appalachian, but it's like 60 feet off of being Howell Mountain Appalachian. So anyway, way down south on Silverado Trail, there was fire. And then straight across the valley, not too far laterally across, but it was all the way across the valley, was the fires on the other side. So I was about as far away from it all as I could get. And so I just talked to my winemaker a few days ago, and he said that there's really no residual from any of the fires or anything. So
that's amazing.
Like with my wine anyway. So
it's that whole area was such a bummer. That fire was insane.
Oh my gosh.
They said it was going. I forget the exact number, but it was something insane. Like it was going a football field distance in 3 seconds, like at its peak.
I know that I think the big reason was the wind came in that night, like 40 plus mile an hour winds came through that night. Very, very, very devastating for some. But that's one company. The clothing line is called Warrior. So that came out a year ago, January of last year of 17.
Why Warrior? Is it like affliction, like skulls and swords and shit?
No, this is a Warrior jacket I have on.
It's very nice.
Thanks.
It's lovely.
No, it's more athleisure. Athleisure. Have you never heard of that?
Leisure? No.
Oh, yeah, it's a whole... Yeah, there you go. Thanks.
I dress like a 17-year-old. I don't know anything.
It's like leggings and sports bras and T-shirts and jackets and sweatshirts and athleisure. Mm-hmm.
So I want to go back to this wine thing.
Oh, good.
So you have this thought in your head.
Should have brought some. Dang it.
Yeah. Well, I'll go buy some. Tell me where I can get it. Can you get it anywhere?
Somniumwine.com. It's not. It's not sold in very many places. Mostly online. It's not. There's not very much made. So.
Oh, okay. So you can order it online and you guys will ship it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now you get this piece of property and you start talking to this guy who was a consultant and you start talking about making wine. Like, what is the process? Like, how does it, you buy the property and then how do you get the seeds? How do you get the right grapes? How do you know?
Well, you have to go through a bunch of permitting. So permitting for plans for it, there's a certain grades that are not. So if it's over 20 degrees grade, then you have to have special approvals, but under you can plant. So I literally planted 6 acres-ish of max. It's the max that I could plant on my 24 acres that I have that was below 20-degree grade. And so you have to go through erosion control permitting because it's, the slopes. And if you're going to dig up the ground, you don't want it to slide down the mountain if it rains. So we had to kind of get creative with some of the infrastructure to dissipate the water. And so it didn't create just rivers and rushing of, new dirt sliding down the hill. So because it's at elevation a little bit. And then you hire your farmers, and then the winemaker helps pick out the rootstock and the clones, and then they plant it. And you wait a couple of years for it to be ready, and then you start making wine.
So it starts with clones, which is
the rootstock first.
Oh, rootstock. And
what
does that mean?
And then they graft on the clone that they want.
What's a rootstock? It's like the actual roots.
Yeah, that would be. I wish I knew every single thing that you're asking to the nth degree, but that would be like Cabernet, Petit Verdot, white wine,
right?
Whatever. I'm sure.
Were you there when they did all this? No. I would want to see what that is. That sounds fascinating.
Tiny little roots.
Yeah, but it just.
And then they put the trellising up, and then. Then you get into, depending on your winemaker, they decide then how much fruit to drop. Sort of the vine comes up and splits off and makes like a T. And so they decide how many clusters they keep on each side to determine, what kind of wine you're making. So, we drop a lot of fruit to make really good wine.
What does that mean by drop fruit? Like you lose?
Literally cut the cluster off of the vine.
Oh.
So yeah. That's why, like, if you're buying bulk wine, they're not dropping a damn thing.
Right.
Right. If you're buying grapes, they're also not dropping a damn thing, or not as much probably because you're paying by the ton.
So this is a long process.
Oh, it's a really long process.
Like to go 9 years from the time you start to making your first bottles of wine.
And that's probably why most people, if you have enough money to build a winery, you're probably a bit older. And you run out of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you're going to get any return on your investment. I'm a lot of millions in the hole, but whatever. It's a passion project.
Are you doing it as an investment, or are you doing it because you?
Because I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Because you can. Yeah. Why not? Do what you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just money.
Yeah.
And I love the lifestyle, so I want to share that with people.
The lifestyle of Napa.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing. Yeah.
Wine. The connection that you create, sitting down together and sharing it, the stories of the vineyard, the story of how it came along. I have, the good thing is people were like, well, you got to have a story. I'm like, well, I have a story. But that's what people connect to. So that's, so then it's a matter of getting that story to the somms in different restaurants so that they can tell you the story of Somnium. And then, you're like, oh, that sounds amazing. Oh, that's hers? That's so cool. Like, I would love it if my wine was a good story that someone told. And then they were like, oh, and this is actually Danica Patrick's wine. And you're like, oh, no way? Yeah, I got to try that. You know what I mean? I'd rather have that be the backstory than the front story.
Do you know Maynard Keenan from Tool? Do you know?
Oh, yeah. I've drank his wine before.
Yeah.
Caduceus?
Yeah.
Yes, I have some. It's in my fridge right now. Got it a long time ago. Got it up in Jerome, Arizona. He has a little cellar door in Jerome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I've never met him. I tried to meet him.
He's a buddy of mine.
And I was like, but it didn't work.
He's actually in town, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's still here. He was here yesterday for sure.
Yeah, he sources some of his grapes from California, I think, for some of his wine.
Yeah, he did a similar thing, but he did it in Arizona.
Yes.
He just bought this land and then developed it.
He makes some in Arizona, but the better red came from California.
Is that what?
Yeah.
He's a freak. He's a real crazy person.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
In what way?
Super intelligent. Just super, super smart. Like, too smart. Too smart to talk to most people. He's just so out there and intense as well. And maybe it's had something to do with the choices. So he's a lead singer of 3 fucking bands, and then says, what? Yeah. And then let me just start making my own wine.
Yeah.
Opened up a restaurant.
Cool.
Like he can't do enough shit. He does jujitsu all the time. Can't do enough shit.
Is that where you got to know him?
Yeah, and he was over here for jujitsu seminars. John Danaher. He was at one of his seminars yesterday. Yeah. No, he's a maniac.
Maybe weirdos make wine then.
I think so. Well, I think
I'd rather be weird than normal.
I think that's a good way of looking at things. There's nothing wrong with being weird.
Normal and conventional are the opposite of weird. I looked it up. I don't want to be either of those.
Yeah, well, it depends. Conventional wisdom's not bad.
It said conventional.
Yeah. there's some normal that's not bad. You know, I like normal cheeseburgers. You know, like,
I don't.
right?
See, I want caramelized onions. I want a fried egg. I want maple bacon.
Oh, you're a pain in the ass.
I love food. Like, I love food. I
Yeah.
eat more than most everyone.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah. But you're
Yes.
tiny.
Well,
You put it away. Well, you work out twice a day.
yeah, some
Yeah.
days I didn't work out today. It didn't work out. It didn't work out to work out, but yeah, I do eat a lot. My sister and I both do. We're both like 110-ish pounds, and we are both like 5 foot, and we both eat a ton. But we do work out.
Well,
but,
you little hummingbirds, like all that energy you're burning off, probably burning calories
yeah,
constantly.
we look at each other. We're like, I would die without fat. I need a lot of fat in my diet.
Yeah. Maynard opened up a restaurant too, an
In LA?
osteria. No, in Arizona. So it sort of features wines and
Where
and food.
where in Arizona? Because I know
good question.
Jerome is pretty far from my place is in Scottsdale, so
Yeah, he's out in the middle of nowhere. He's his vineyard.
then it's probably Jerome.
Yeah, I think it's in that area.
Jerome's on the top of a mountain. I mean, this is a cool place to go. If you're ever visiting Arizona, Jerome is really interesting. You kind of wind up this mountain. You get up to the top. It's like supposedly all haunted, and it's very bizarre. But there's, the last I knew, it was a very long time ago that I was there. But he has a cool cellar door, and there's some restaurants and whatnot, and it's on top of a mountain.
Yeah, that's Maynard. That's the kind of thing he's into, and he's very wise too about balancing out the rock star life versus like that's one of the things that I think was attractive to him about creating a wine and being.
Well, I'd
in a
say that's
small
really
area.
important. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like I've figured out in my life how much grounding I need to balance me out, and it's not just like everybody needs 50-50, you know? Like,
Right.
spend 50% of the time walking around in the woods and 50% of the time doing your shit. It's, everybody's different. So for me, it's like, maybe 20% of the time I need to take a walk in nature or do a yoga class or meditate or something like that.
Yeah. Do you feel like you need decompression time just from the whole celebrity thing, just being interviewed and media and people paying attention to you, want to take pictures with you? There's just the constant assault.
I don't feel it's exhausting because I'm listening and I'm paying attention. I'm answering your questions honestly, where I think most people can just go into sort of like autopilot mode, and it's probably not as mentally exhausting for them. For me, it's just being on. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like you just have to be on all the time, you know? So the being on part is nice to get away from.
Yeah,
So it's kind of answering the questions, but it's really just a matter of having to navigating life and people staring at you or wanting something from you or thinking they want something from you just because you're trained because too many people have wanted something from you.
Right.
To, just the demands of the things that you're doing and running around. I mean, I'm on an airplane twice a week doing stuff. So you just get exhausted from that.
Yeah, that's not healthy either, right? Yeah. Do you feel like you're going to step away from public life when you stop racing? Are you going to fade into the
Probably not.
normalcy?
No.
You don't think so?
No. I'd love to have a cooking show. So
A cooking show?
I
Do you
love,
cook?
like I said, I love cooking.
Yeah?
I'm yeah.
Like what kind of stuff?
Anything. I'm not much of a baker though. That's
No?
because I'm a free spirit. Baking's all down to a science. You gotta measure everything. It's got to be certain temperature, and I'm one of those. Just dump it in a bowl, taste it. Does it need more sugar? Does it need more acid? Does it need to be more rich with fat? Does it need spice? What does it need?
Now, are you going off of books? Do you take classes? Like, how'd you learn how to cook?
Well, when I moved to England when I was 16, I lived by myself eventually.
Why did you do that? Why did you move to England?
To race?
You were racing in England?
Yeah. I left high school when I was 16 and moved to England, and then I lived there for 3 years.
How do your parents handle that?
I think my mom cried a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
But they couldn't, they also couldn't imagine me not having the opportunity, so they let me go.
And
I left high school. So
what kind of racing were you doing there?
the lowest level open wheel racing. So
What's that mean?
open wheel just means that the wheels are exposed, really.
Oh, okay.
Versus stock cars, which are NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
So open wheel, wheels open. So there was no wings on the cars that I was driving over there at that point in time. So it was just, no wing, open wheel cars. So I was just, starting my career, really, because from go-karts, I didn't want to be a professional go-kart driver, so I was like, I'll just get into cars as soon as I can.
How'd this come up?
Well, I was 14, and I was at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and I went into a suite, and there was some British dude in there, and so I started asking about cars, and again, we're at the racetrack, and this family that he works for has a race team, and so I guess I asked all the right questions, and 2 years later, when I was 16, they asked me and my dad to come back to Indy and meet with them and talk about going over to England to race, and they said I could learn more in 1 year in England than 5 years in America, and it was not true at all, but I did it anyway.
Of course it wasn't. Fucking English people, you're crazy.
Pompous, no.
Just get the fuck out of here.
I might make people from England mad, but there's not many that I've liked.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I love English people. I'm
Do
the
you?
opposite. Yeah, I think they're wonderful.
See, I maybe it was just my environment. Like no one kept in touch after I left. I lived there for 3 years, and no one kept in touch with me at all.
Maybe you were too intense for English people. Well, they also have like this is where you are and this is where you stay. You have like a very there's
do you
rigid
think they're
class
kind of
structures there.
Oh, well, that ain't me.
Yeah, I have friends that moved to California from England, and they're like, the people over here are so much more optimistic about the future.
And open-minded, right? Like, I mean, just like bring you in and prove me wrong instead of like prove to me why I got to be your friend. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of a European mentality, a little bit more guarded.
Well, also being a 16-year-old girl living there by yourself, not knowing anybody, that had to be really weird.
I grew a lot. So I learned more there in 1 year than 5 years in America from a personal standpoint. See, I went over there and I was very open and unguarded and would tell anyone anything, and
How'd that work out for you?
It didn't work out very well. I got hurt a lot. I hated men after that. Do
you hate English accents now? Like when you from men? Like, hello, mate. That
a
kind
little
of
bit.
stuff?
I do a little bit. Yeah, I'm a little scarred. But anyway, I came home, and my parents described me as very cold when I came home. Very guarded, very cold.
Did you guys visit back and forth between the 3 years?
I would come home like twice a year, and they would come over once or twice a year.
Oh, so it wasn't
alienation.
too bad.
It was, but.
But they said you were cold when you got back.
Yeah.
That you became hard over there.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck that.
I know.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things in life is figuring out who you really are. Like what you really enjoy, who you are as a person, what you stand for, instead of what culture's told you.
And what advice do you give someone that's trying to do that? Like, I have a nephew. He's a great kid, but he doesn't know what the fuck he wants to do. He's trying to figure it out now. And
I mean, the first quick couple of things that you can do to identify what it is that you're interested in, and something that's true to you is, just what do you do for your hobbies? That's very insightful. What do you enjoy? If you were by yourself, there's a job for you. I mean, isn't it legal here in California now
yes. Well, sort of.
So anyway,
sort of legal.
It's be like some guru farmer. And then also, this is like an odd one, but look at the phone. Look at the pictures on your phone, or look at the pictures that you post on social media, maybe, or something like that. But whatever you take pictures is also kind of pretty insightful for what you're interested in.
Okay.
I mean, you're not taking pictures of stuff that you don't care about.
That's true.
It's your phone.
But what if you're all selfies? What if all your pictures like?
Well, then I think your ego is very loud.
Do you have any selfies on your phone?
God. So the only reason why selfies for me are so annoying. But
Do you have a selfie stick?
No. No. But the only way I do them is if I am kind of promoting, right? So for me, it's a matter of promoting a healthy lifestyle. So maybe it's me in the gym working out. Maybe it's something like that where I can be like, post like whatever workout I did, and perhaps what you could look like if you did these workouts.
Oh, sort of.
Sort of. Maybe better, really. I mean,
please.
So, those are why I would take a selfie, or if it's with someone you really like, you can take a picture with someone. I don't think does that count as a selfie if it's just you, if it's you and someone else?
No,
that's just being like
somebody else.
Creative with how you're getting a picture of you.
Yeah.
So selfies, the only time I do it really is pretty much just to promote either like clothes I'm wearing for my clothing line or like workout style stuff for my book. But for me, I'm not like, damn, my hair looks good today. And, I'm like, ooh, look at me, and I say nothing. You know, I say that's just, I don't know, it's
Now,
very ego driven.
I know, as a woman who is very ambitious and successful and powerful, what do you make of these social media stars now that just do that? They just stick their butt out and take pictures, and there's a lot of that. Mm-hmm. It's a weird
sex sells.
Yeah,
it always will.
Yeah.
You probably deal with it more emotionally yourself because it's a vicious circle where you want more, so you have to keep doing more.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you end up in a place where you don't know yourself anymore because you're doing it to fulfill someone else's wants and desires more than yours.
Yeah. Right. Like
you have to keep going to the next level, right? You have to keep. You're like, oh, I wore this like super cute like leggings and a sports bra. Now I gotta wear a bodysuit, and now I'm wearing a thong. And holy crap, you know, like look at me now.
Yeah. What do you do?
What? Yeah. Who are you?
And after but some of it's oddly successful.
It's
like I've gone to some of them. Their pages have like 17 million followers.
Well,
I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, well, of course, then it begs the question, like, what is your definition of success then?
Yeah.
Because if you don't make money off 17 million followers, then what's the point?
I think they do, though. They do like sponsored posts and stuff like that.
Okay. I mean, I agree. That's why, again, you have to go to the next level all the time to get more people.
Yeah.
It kind of feeds. The ego is getting fed.
But as a woman who's an attractive woman who's also very ambitious, like you could have just been one of those things, right? Like when you see someone, I mean, I don't think men look at it this way because I don't think there's a lot of guys that like look at guys who just do like workout Instagrams or something like that, and they get, look at this fucking guy. How about use your brain,
Where's
bro?
the protein powder?
Yeah. But as a woman who, I mean, you're not falling back on your looks is what I'm trying to say. It's like you have them, but that's just a part of you. You're obviously hyper ambitious on top of that. When you see someone who's just, do you feel like they're like wasting time, or do you feel like that's just them?
I just feel like it's immaturity.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's your driving force is just your looks and, you know, but there are some that have some content, but, you know, and they can use it to drive a message. I mean, there's some that I've noticed like that really do have really positive messages, spreading positivity, spreading good things, but promoting good things. But for those who aren't, then I just think it's a level of immaturity. And it's going to come to, I think it will come to bite them eventually because it's, where does the road lead to?
Yeah, it's a short-lived success.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said this once. It's a really great quote that beauty is a short-lived tyranny.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, it kind of leads me to a little bit of one similar, like I'm not going to get it right exactly, but it's the ego is impatient because it knows its time is limited, where the soul is patient because it knows it has forever.
Ooh, we should like have memes on like a stripper's Instagram page. Be perfect. Yeah. That's the kind of
it's true. I mean,
ones.
And the ego needs to be fed immediately. You know, the ego
Yeah.
wants something now, and it's not thinking about the long term. Or
It's true.
you know, soul decisions are, you know, perhaps unrealized for an amount of time, but you know, the truth will always come through. And so, if you're not living it, well, you're going to have a transition.
Now, when you make if you put like an Instagram post up of workouts and stuff like that, do you do that specifically because you're trying to motivate people?
Yeah, because it does for me. I mean, when I see somebody hot working out and see a picture of them, I'm like, God, I better get to the gym.
Yeah,
better get working out. Oh, maybe put that chocolate down.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, people, especially people in my line of work, comedians, love to mock things along those lines, but I take inspiration off of a lot of people online.
Yeah. And my overall, what I hope for people too is that with the book I wrote, I really want people to find confidence in themselves and develop a healthier relationship with food and exercise. And I think most people think of food as a punishment, right? They're like, oh my God, I'll just eat this terrible vegetable. Or they're like, oh, I have to work out. This sucks. Where working out can be fun. Working out can make you feel good. Food can also make you feel good. Food is medicine. Food will make you not only feel good, but be good and look better. So you know, I really hope that in all of my motivation, it drives people into a direction where they feel good about it all, and there's more positivity around it. Don't you feel like there's so much negativity around eating healthy and working out? There's so many people that just hate it.
There's quite a bit of that, but I think there's a lot of positivity around it too. I think that people are recognizing more and more today the benefits of eating healthy in terms of like psychological benefits, like your mind works better, physical benefits. You feel better about your choices. You feel better about your momentum in life. Like, hey, I'm on the right path. I'm eating healthy. I'm taking supplements. I'm working out on a regular basis. My body feels I've got more energy.
Oh, yeah.
It's tuned in better.
I mean, I remember when I cut out dairy and gluten years ago, and my energy level finally was up and consistent. Where before it'd be like the random day where you're like, man, why am I so exhausted today? Like, I'm just so tired.
Yeah.
I didn't have any of those days anymore.
Yeah. When people eat a lot of refined carbohydrates and then shift to a diet that has none of that stuff in it, it's stunning.
Yeah.
The effect that it has on your midday. I always tell people, like, if you need a nap in the middle of the day, if you're one of those people, just try. Cut out your sugar, cut out your refined carbohydrates, and then watch what happens.
Yeah.
You will have so much more energy during the day.
Not a napper, that's for sure. Yeah. I mean, maybe I like coffee, but...
Are you one of those 4 hours of sleep a night people?
Actually, I can. I don't need a lot. I wake up with the sunlight, too, so I'm one of those people. And I wake up in the morning and, like, I see the light going, I'm like... It's morning? Is it morning? I'm so excited. If it's morning, I'm ready. I love the morning, and I'm very chatty, and I'm very like up and ready to go, and like.
Are you
get
awake?
Some coffee. Yes.
Wake
are
up.
Are you?
Wake
are you
up.
awake?
Do you want to make coffee?
Now.
I'll make coffee. Do you want breakfast? Come on. I want to go running. Let's go running.
That's me. I'm really annoyingly up and ready to go and happy in the morning. I love the morning.
How are you at night though?
Sleepy.
See?
I'm okay.
Pick
I'm
your
okay.
battles.
I'm okay. But once I get horizontal at night, it's over. Like I'm falling asleep.
You have no insomnia?
No.
No. Yeah, I don't think so.
No. I have before. It's awful.
Yeah, that sucks. That's not good.
But I don't have it. No. I'm. But once I lay down at night, I'm tired.
Now, what kind of diet do you follow? Do you have a specific? You said no gluten and
no dairy.
You cut out dairy.
And then a couple of years ago, I did an IVF treatment to freeze my eggs because I'm getting older and I drive race cars and I can't, do any of that stuff. So I was like, look, I'm going for the insurance policy here. So
how's that go? How do they get those out of there?
Okay, do you really want to know?
Yeah, it's a weird method, right?
All right, so you have a ton of shots for like a month.
A ton of shots.
A ton of shots. Every day you stick them in your stomach and you have a ton of shots. And so they drop your estrogen down to nothing and then they ramp it up. And then it multiplies the follicles. Like the follicles are what grows the egg. So you go in after a while and you start getting ultrasounds to see how many follicles are growing on each side. So anyway, it was good for me. But that many grows. And they want them each to get to like basically almost an inch by an inch, each of them. And I mean, this is a lot of information, but 20 to 30 on each side. That's a shitload of real estate in my body. It got very uncomfortable.
20 to 30 inches on each side. Each one's an inch.
So
did people think you were pregnant?
Yeah, you do. You look like 3 months. I mean, it was huge. I was so uncomfortable.
And you feeling all the eggs in there?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Were you naming them? This one's Cindy. This is Bobby.
You're number 7.
This is Mike.
I come from a long line of girls, so I'm pretty sure they're all girls. So I did that, and you do this trigger drug thing, and then 36 hours on the minute you go in and you retrieve it. And what they do is you get wheeled in. The room is super like humid and warm.
Like a jungle.
Yeah, like a jungle, and so wild things in there. So they put you in like. They put you in like ski boots, like to get you up and ready.
Whoa!
And then some chick was like, "All right, I'm gonna give you a little something relaxing." I'm like, "Girl, you don't have to tell me, just do it." Like that was what I told her, and then I was asleep.
Wow.
And they go in with a needle and retrieve every one of them,
one by one, with a needle.
I think, yeah. They go in and puncture in through it and retrieve the...
How many eggs did you get sucked out of there?
24.
Wow.
And
so you have a potential 24 children.
19 were mature.
Oh, okay. So 19 potential people.
Yep.
How many think you're going to make?
Not that many.
Have you thought about it?
No. No. They say you need 20 to guarantee one. So
Wow.
I'm pretty much guaranteed one.
Wow.
But this is just an insurance policy. It doesn't mean I
Yeah.
can't
Do
try
it
a
the
different
right
way
way.
if I wanted to.
Yeah. Well, if you
But
stop
anyway,
racing,
so okay, back to the
Right.
point. Like we just got way off track here, but this
Sorry.
is part of the story as to why I decided to change my diet and my workout, and why I ended up writing a book was because I gained like 4 pounds. Okay, I know there's people who are like, oh, who cares, 4 pounds? On my frame, 5 foot, who I'm small, little, and for any girl out there, your jeans only fit when you're exactly the size that you are, and then you gain a couple pounds and they don't anymore. I was just uncomfortable. It just wasn't. I just gained some weight and not
4 pounds
anything
of
really.
eggs too.
Well,
That's a lot.
it was legit. Like I just gained some weight because of the hormones. So it instantly also gave me some sympathy for people out there with whether it's dudes and testosterone or women with pregnancy or menopause or whatever it is that changes their hormones, and sometimes you just gain weight. I'm like, oh my God, this is real. This isn't just some excuse for getting older and being lax about your diet or your exercise. It really happens. And so anyway, so I decided to eat paleo for like a week. Really, I was going to do it for a week. And I did it, and I never stopped. So that was 2 years ago. And then I also started doing 2-a-day workouts because I wanted to change it up and sort of kick things up a notch. But I also realized that I was out taking my dogs for walks. And I was like, well, if I'm walking them, I might as well run and do a workout too. So, instead of 1.5 miles of walking around the property, I would go for 3 miles.
So when you say you do 2 a day, it's like, how do you break it up?
They're usually a little shorter, like I would say somewhere between 20 to 40 minutes each. And one of them will be, I do upper body, lower body, and an ab day. And I just rotate through those, really. I keep rotating through those because, look, if I do it right, I'm so sore I can't do upper body again for a few days. So I just rotate through those, and then I supplement in, if I have time, I do interval running, where I'll like sprint for 30 seconds, walk for 30 seconds, sprint for 30 and I'll do that for 20 minutes.
And do you have someone train you, or do you do everything yourself?
No, I do everything myself. I write. I love writing workouts. I think it's the artistic side of me. I like the balance and the flow of like creating something that has fluidity and makes sense, and there's good transitions through movements. So, I see your big Rogue gym going in, so I'd be happy to program for you if you want me to. But
Program
it's
for me. Do it.
CrossFit style workouts. So.
Well, I do a lot. Like I said, I don't do CrossFit, but
Yeah.
most of the stuff I do is kettlebells,
Yeah.
deadlifts,
Yep,
things along those
I do that
lines.
stuff too. Yeah.
A lot of chin-ups.
Yeah.
Too many. I got what's
Do you
called
do 'em all-
golfer's elbow.
Tell me about it. My right elbow is feeling so sore for like 3 days. Is it right on?
Yeah,
It's like right on
inside.
the top. It's like right here. It's
But I
sore.
got to give a shout out to Kelly Starrett. He hooked me up with this crazy protocol for healing up my tendonitis.
And what is it? Is it legal?
Just started. Yeah. Yeah, it's mostly. Do you know who he is? He's the guy who wrote that book, Becoming a Supple Leopard.
No.
He's a real wizard when it comes to like exercise physiology and understanding the body. And his book's amazing.
I'm all about new and improved modalities. And
Yeah.
Things like
He gave me a bunch of different things, but also a tool to scrape the area, which is going to be pretty
Oh,
intense.
is it like a blade, like a metal?
Mhm.
Okay, I've had
Yeah.
that done before.
Yeah, and
Scraping.
topical CBD oil, which is really good.
Is that legal?
Yes, CBD is illegal across the board.
Okay.
Non psychoactive, but the FDA is trying to stop that.
Well, of
Those
course, follow the money.
fuckheads. Yeah, those creeps. They're
Follow the
trying
money.
to-
It's a good explanation for just about everything.
Yeah, they're trying to put it in the same classification as heroin. It's hilarious. Yeah, it's so stupid. It's just 100% pharmaceutical drug
Man-made
companies.
institutions of decision making.
Yep. Well, it's just creepy people with money that don't want to lose money to CBD oil because it's so much better for you and healthy and natural and does the exact same thing.
Imagine how much the drug companies would lose.
Yeah.
If
or gain if they started selling it. You fucks. Just they want to monopolize it. That's the problem.
course.
They
Follow
want
the money.
patents. They want to be able to patent things, That's like we were talking about before about the things that are in the Amazon. I mean, there's so many different plants that can deal with so many different ailments that people have. But
Like
then-
ayahuasca.
yeah, that's one of them. Sure. Have you done it?
I haven't, but it's
No?
kind of interesting.
Yeah. Have you done any psychedelics?
No. I've never
Nothing.
done drugs ever.
No drugs. No pot?
Ever. Never.
Oh,
Nothing.
Are you scared?
No, my dad scared the living daylights out of me when I was a kid, and he told me that if I ever, he's like, you get tested for drugs and you fail, you won't ever be a race car driver. He told me that about drinking and driving too. If you lose your license, you won't be able to race, and then, what are you going to be when you grow up then? He threatened me with
Dad,
remedial jobs.
Jesus.
And so he scared the living daylights out of me. Truth be told, you can lose your license, still race. Also, truth be told, I didn't get drug tested until way later, but we do get drug tested.
You're running a drug farm.
Oh,
you sell wine. You're running a drug farm.
Well, kind of.
That's a drug farm, lady.
It's legal above 21.
It's 100% drug farm. It's wonderful, delicious tasting drugs.
It sure is.
You can get fucked up on wine.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that? That's drugs.
And addicted to drinking alcoholism.
100%.
Right?
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of other things that you can do that are altering that aren't addictive, right?
You're running a plant-based drug farm. 100%.
Cash crops.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're a drug dealer.
Well, let's just go all the way. Well, if I was going to do something, what would be the first thing I would do?
Pot.
Oh.
For sure.
Okay.
Nice and light, real slow, don't take much.
What does that mean, don't take much?
Just take a little bit. You don't want to freak out.
Oh.
Like one of the major problems that people have when they first start smoking pot, they'll take like 2 or 3 hits. You can take one like, that's it, put it down. Right, Jamie? Yeah, Jamie will tell you.
Okay.
Little hit, walk away. Yeah, don't fuck with edibles. Leave those alone. Those you need to build up to those things. Those are a
for
completely different experience.
Experienced users.
Well, it's not just that. Even experienced users, they don't recognize the fact that it's a completely different psychoactive ingredient.
Oh.
Yeah, when THC.
It's not THC?
No. When it's processed by your liver, it produces 11-hydroxymetabolite, which is 4 to 5 times more psychoactive than THC. It's way more potent.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is why people freak out when they eat edibles, and they just don't.
Don't eat the whole brownie.
No. Just a couple crumbs, and then don't even think about having any more for at least 2 hours. Let it settle in.
Give yourself time.
Yeah.
Don't freak out after 15, 20 minutes and be like, it's not working.
Right. Don't do that. That's
kind of what I do
thing.
sometimes when I'm drinking. I'm like,
I'm sure.
Man, this is my 3rd drink. It just doesn't seem to be working. And then I hit it harder, and then I don't remember anything.
Then you hit the wall.
Brown out or black out, whatever.
Yeah, drugs. You do drugs.
Yeah, actually, one of the first times I heard one of your podcasts, I think it was about DMT.
Yeah. That's the mother load. DMT is the psychoactive ingredient that's in ayahuasca. And
Right,
it's
right.
the most potent psychedelic.
Seems like a cleaner way to do it as opposed to ayahuasca where you throw up and shit yourself.
Yeah. It's definitely probably, it's also quicker. Like the longest it's going to take is like 15 or 20 minutes. But there's some places that are doing it now where they're doing it intravenously. So those trips are apparently, that was how they did it in, there's a book called DMT, the Spirit Molecule by this guy, Dr. Rick Strassman, who did all these studies out of the University of New Mexico. And they were the first FDA-approved clinical studies.
He did it with a group of people?
Yeah.
I think I saw something about that.
It was amazing, but they
were
did
in a hospital, and
yes.
they did it intravenously.
Yeah, and they were gonzo for like 40 minutes, like, boom, off into the other dimension.
I was going to say, so other dimension, right? This dream state? Do you think it's like a dream state?
It's very similar because they believe that your brain during heavy REM sleep also produces DMT. And they think that's...
Because we all have it. We all have DMT.
Everybody has it. Yeah. Everybody has it.
It's naturally occurring in everyone.
Yes. It's produced by your liver, your lungs, and... Now they know it's also produced, at least in rats, by your pineal gland, which is literally your third eye. It actually, in certain reptiles, it actually has a retina and a lens. It is an eye.
I'm always trying to decalcify my pineal gland.
Is that real?
I don't know.
You get that from them crystal people in Sedona?
Hell yeah, I do.
Yeah, they say it's like fluoride. Fluoride's calcifying your pineal gland, man. Like, okay.
I did watch a cool thing.
How's it getting in there?
Yeah.
How's it getting through my mouth and through? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Well,
fluoride's
it goes
getting
in
there?
everything. You are what you eat.
Yeah, sorta. But are you what you drink?
Too.
Are you wine?
Yes. Yes, I get better with age. Duh.
Yeah, I don't know if your pineal gland actually gets calcified by fluoride in drinking water. That sounds like some hippie horse shit.
It does sound hippie horse shit. I'd like to see some scientific proof. But hey, man, with all the hippie shit, there's not a lot of scientific proof with it.
No, there's not.
It's a sense of knowing. That's what it comes down to, is a sense of knowing. Like, do you really feel like this is making sense to you? Does it register? Are you like, I don't know why I believe this, but I just do. I don't even know where it came from.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I'd rather trust scientists.
I like science too. My sister and I went and saw Neil deGrasse Tyson in Indianapolis over the winter. Over
What
Christmas.
did he had like one
It
of
was
those
called the,
Star Talk radio things?
It was called an astrophysicist reads the newspaper.
Oh.
Yeah. So he like pulled articles and just laughed about them basically.
Oh, that's cool.
Pluto came up because he was part of the group that sort of said that Pluto wasn't a planet.
Yes. Yeah, people got very upset with him.
Yeah. He also loved to point out how there'd be something crazy and he'd be like, let me point out, this is in the science section of the newspaper. Like, as if, like, how did this make it to the science section?
Right. He's going to come on here sometime in February, and he's going to talk to a guy who believes the Earth is flat.
Oh, that guy. He made fun of that guy, too.
Yeah.
He's like, let me show you a reflection of what it looks like if the Earth was flat. Of course, it's, shadow of a flat line. It's like, of course, that's not true.
Well, of course, it's not true, but there's a lot of young people out there today that believe the Earth is flat.
Do you believe the Earth is flat?
No, I most certainly do not, but I think it's...
Why do they not think we actually go into outer space and are on...
No, they think that's fake, too. But I think it's just a matter of...
Do you think we landed on the moon?
If there is anything that I think is one of the more attractive conspiracy theories, it's the moon landing one. Because the only time they did it was between 1969 and 1972. They did 7 missions, 6 were successful. And that's the only time in human history that people have been more than, I think, 400 miles above the Earth's surface. Everything else, all the space shuttle missions, all of the space station missions, all that stuff is inside of 400 miles. The moon is like 260,000 miles there and back, and they've never even sent a chicken into space and had it come back alive. They never sent anything into space other than people, like into deep space, past the Van Allen radiation belt, past the magnetosphere. I think most likely we went, but if there's ever a conspiracy theory that's attractive to me, it's that one. Because I just think it would be fascinating if during the Nixon administration they really did fake it. And there's a lot of weirdness to it.
Why would they fake it?
Well, first of all, to show military superiority to the Russians. And again, I'm not saying, and I used to believe they did fake it. I was heavily on the side that they faked it. But then I realized I don't know jack shit about astrophysics. I don't know jack shit about rocket travel. I'm just talking out of my ass. So like me saying that they didn't go was literally an ignorant perspective.
Just a guess.
Well, it's just being attracted to conspiracy theories.
Yeah, which is fun.
That's the problem is that conspiracy theories are really fun. Like Bigfoot's really fun. UFOs are really fun. All that stuff is really fun. You have to sift through
a lot of stuff to get to the core because there's arguments on both sides.
There is, but it's also you have to recognize in yourself that you do not want the official story to be true. And I do not. And almost every single thing that happens, like, moon landing or UFO landings or any crazy shit, I always want the crazy shit to be real. I always want the UFO thing to be a real thing. They do have it.
Do you believe in aliens?
Yes. I think it's more than likely that there's something out there.
I mean, like, to feel like that we're the only thing in the universe is a little ridiculous.
It seems stupid.
It seems pretty ignorant and arrogant.
Yeah. But I don't think that it's what we think it is. I think it's most likely far beyond the places that we can currently travel to. And I think that by the time they get to a high level of sophistication, they're most likely not even organic anymore. And I think that that's the future of the human race.
Levels of consciousness?
Well, I think maybe that, but I also think there's a real problem with the possibility of artificial intelligence. I think human beings are about to create life. Whether we recognize it as life or not, what artificial life is going to be is life. Artificial intelligence is going to have the ability to change itself, multiply what human beings have been able to do in terms of technological innovation by a rate of something insane like in 2 years, they'll be able to do 10,000 years of innovation. In terms of like what we're capable of doing. So I think that what we're looking at now is the the last days of biological life. I think 100 years from now, 500 years from now, whatever it is, there won't be biological humans anymore. I think this will be an archaic, outdated.
The world will change as we know it.
Yeah, and I think
kind of mean, I don't believe in everything the Bible says, but
was that in the
world
Bible?
will change. Well, the apocalypse, the world will change as we know it.
I think the apocalypse is local.
The world will end as we know it, right?
But I think the apocalypse, like the stuff in the Bible, that's all local. Like if you lived where Hurricane Katrina hit, you would think the apocalypse was there, right? If you were in anywhere where something really fucking crazy happened and you didn't have any contact with the outside world, no cell phones, no radio, no TV, it didn't exist,
sure.
right?
True. If you were isolated.
Yeah, I think that's what all of our notions of the apocalypse are. They're periodic natural disasters that are unbelievably devastating. Like, they've proven that the entire human race was down to a few thousand people because of a super volcano around 70,000 years ago. So I think there's been a series of those events throughout history where the human race is brought down to an almost unmanageable level, and then we repopulated. And I think that's probably the origins of the apocalypse. Or asteroidal impacts, which are very common. They've happened all throughout history.
Do you think that AI is going to just eliminate biological humans?
I think it's entirely possible that we're going to give into it too. That we're going to take it. We're going to, first of all, become symbiotic. We're going to take something and put it inside of us. It's going to enhance us, whether it's our ability to communicate, whether it's our ability to see. We're going to start implanting chips into ourselves, and then they're going to have improved body parts. Like, say if you break your arm and they're like, look, Danica, we can fix your arm, but it's going to take a year. You have, 17 broken bones, or we can replace it with an arm that works better and it'll feel just like a regular arm. And I'm going to bring in Mike, and Mike has a fake arm, and he's going to show you how it works. And Mike's going to come in. I'm so much happier with my arm than I was with my fake arm, with my real arm.
It's the new drug pushers, right? They're like, no, look how it works, and it's a free vacation to if you do this. I watched I heard some YouTube video of it was someone who channels other.
Oh, one of those assholes.
I think it was channeling the Palladians.
Oh yeah, probably totally legit.
Yeah, and she was talking about how as a human race we have to be careful we don't alter ourselves too much, because then we won't exist as a human race because we won't be able to procreate, and that is what keeps our race alive. That's
probably true. I mean, if you think about where we're going to go, but also, doesn't it have to keep evolving? I mean, if we got back, look, do you think like monkeys, when they were living in trees, throwing shit at each other?
We're
like,
different
hey,
than that now.
We got to be chill, otherwise we're going to stop being monkeys. We won't be able to throw shit at each other and dodge jaguars.
And eat bananas all day.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are afraid of change. And I think the human race is afraid of change too, but we're by no means perfect.
That's why most people don't do things, right? Everyone's afraid of change.
Right.
Taking a chance,
right.
Having it be different.
Yeah.
Maybe it's worse. Well, Dick, maybe it's better, you know?
Well, that's like the hallmark of your whole life. Look at you.
100%. I'm not afraid of change.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Okay, so you get the robot arm.
I have a moment. I'll take the arm. I have a moment of, fear of like, oh shit, and then there's the next moment is, well, maybe it's better than I could ever expect.
What if they
imagine?
They'll give you two options. They give you one robot arm that you never have to work out. It'll always be strong. You can get that one, or you can get one that you constantly have to work out.
Oh, like I'd probably take the robot arm.
But which robot arm? Would you take the one that you constantly have to work out?
No.
Or would you take the one that's just perfect?
Yeah, I'd probably take the perfect one.
You never have to exercise. Just bam! Just jacked all the time.
Yep. If I wanted, working out, if I still needed to do that for like the, feel-good endorphin hormone sort of, state, then I'd still do that.
No, you have a little pump right here by your brain. Just and you
that's
get that
it.
little
just
endorphin rush.
Well,
yeah.
And I would go do a lot more stuff like walking around in nature.
That's a good answer.
Because I really find enjoyment out of that. I find enjoyment out of the intensity level of things and the confidence that I get, or the, being able to shift my mindset to this sort of like all go, all in, not no pain, no gain. That's so cheesy, but like I can endure. And the confidence that comes from enduring and pushing through. I enjoy that. I enjoy that development of my mind and my discipline and my confidence. I do. But I'm probably just shifting more into enjoying, things that are a little more peaceful too. So
Shifting more into enjoying nature.
yeah.
Yeah. But that would be the most fucked up thing if like you didn't enjoy nature anymore. If they started replacing body parts and you didn't give a shit about the forest.
Oh, that would be sad.
Yeah.
That would be sad. I wouldn't take that body part then.
You probably wouldn't know until it's too late. You'll know until they replace it.
Probably going to be dead before all this is real, so.
That's what I think those aliens are. When people see aliens, those gray aliens.
The grays.
The big eyes and shit. I think that's just what we're going to become. That's what I think. I've been thinking that a lot. I think it's natural. If you look at what a monkey is, and then if we were at some point in time like some ancient hominid like Australopithecus or whatever, Cro-Magnon man, and then we moved on to become Homo sapien, if we keep going in that direction, this is what we're going to look like. We're going to look like little skinny things with big heads.
Lollipops.
Yeah.
That's what I look like when I have my helmet on. When I'm in my race suit, people are like...
You look like an alien. That's a good point, right?
Because
you
I'm
have a
so
regular
small.
size helmet. That's
And
right.
yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, your helmet is like, that would be like a big guy wearing an enormous helmet. It'd
Yeah.
be crazy.
Yeah,
Do you have a strong neck? You must have a wicked neck.
I do.
Do you do exercises with it?
I don't need to.
You don't just carrying the helmet around all the time?
It's probably that and just looking up to my 9-foot target for wall balls. I'm like, God, my neck hurts.
Yeah.
Nah, just, you're not out of the car that long. It might hurt a little bit when I get back in an Indy car again because the G-forces are higher, but you also lean your head against the headrest. Usually the only thing that would make my neck hurt a little bit is road courses at the beginning of of IndyCar season.
What is it like
Going to
when
test because acceleration and deceleration, there's nothing to hold you from like your head going forward. I mean, there is, but not to the level that you would drive that way. There's just a device that is in case you're in an accident, but it still moves. So, holding your neck forward and backwards is a lot more sore than side to side just because you have a headrest.
So when
can
you
use it.
get out of a long race, is your whole body tired?
Yeah. I mean, in stock cars, it's really a lot about dehydration.
Dehydration?
Yeah, I mean, the car's like 130, 140 degrees in there.
Now, do you have a tube? Are you
I
sucking
do. I
water
have
from a
like
tube?
a Camelback that goes
Right.
through the front of my helmet. A couple blowers, a back blower, a helmet blower, things that are cooler air, but I'm here to tell you it's still hot as hell in there.
I can imagine. I mean, there's a fire in a gigantic iron block in front of you.
Yeah, when the water and oil temperature is 300 degrees, yeah.
Jesus.
It sort of, it's like a greenhouse in the car. It runs right underneath you, too.
Do you think you're going to miss it?
That's a great question. I was talking about this just the other day. Like, am I going to miss the intensity? Am I going to miss certain... I mean, I don't know if I'll... I think I will miss some of it a little bit. Every now and again, I'm driving down the road and I'm like, I'll probably miss it a little bit. But yeah. Again, I'm a decisive person, so I'm good.
I'm sure you're good.
I'm just wondering more if I'm going to miss the intensity level of the job and the highs being so high, but the lows being low. I mean, that's how you get the highs, right? And the duality of the environment. I'm wondering if I'll miss some of that, and if whatever I do on the side will be enough.
What is the age that most people retire from racing?
I'm 35. I'm a slightly young. I would say early 40s.
After a while, their body just takes too much.
And you're just exhausted. I mean, honestly, like, especially if it's NASCAR, you're just exhausted. I mean, that's my feeling anyway. You're gone for 40 weeks a year on the road in these, really luxurious places of the world on the Barbecue World Tour, like grilling out of your bus and living out of a bus for most of your life. And, on the road, in and out of airplanes, hours of nothing to do on the weekends while you're, sitting there. So just kind of the grind. So I think you kind of just get a little worn out.
Yeah, I could only imagine.
I mean, even like you were talking about interviews and stuff, like, yeah, I enjoy doing interviews that aren't based around, how's your car this weekend? I mean, they're just so boring. They really are.
Right, yeah.
So it's fun for me to talk about working out or cooking or wine, food, all that stuff. It's just interesting, or aliens.
Yeah, I can only imagine the boring grind of the media tour that you must have to go through when you're racing all the time. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Danica, you were moving quite fast out there today. You happy with her performance?
I was watching the old South Park episode. They had a bunch of NASCAR drivers on South Park, and it was when Cartman was trying to be poor and stupid so he could race NASCAR. And he was sponsored by Vagisil. And he ate a ton of Vagisil to make him as stupid as he could. And he realized that the more stupid he got, the more money he spent, the more in debt he got, and that's how you got poor. So he just bought like jet skis and just... I think he says at one point in time, Danica, you're not half as poor and stupid as I am.
Oh, that's right. You were in it.
Yeah, I was in it.
Did you use your own voice?
No. South
else?
Park just does all their own stuff. I was on The Simpsons that year too, and I did my voiceover for that, but for South Park, no.
Did you love it?
I was awesome. I mean, I don't care what they say. If you're on a show, it's flattering, right? To make TV in a different capacity means you're being noticed.
Well, especially South Park. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's the funniest show that's ever existed.
Yeah.
Especially like all time. If you look at all the episodes they've done, I mean, it doesn't even make sense how creative they are.
That's what I was thinking is how they're just insightful, ahead
Yeah.
of things a lot, and definitely clever, like with the delivery of it.
Yeah, they're wizards.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just completely bizarre. What kind of car do you drive in regular life? Please don't say like a Prius.
No.
That would bump me. Like if you're like, oh, I just drive a
The other day I was
Tesla.
throwing some things into the recycling bin, and I'm like, I'm just trying to do my part, because let's face it, I burn fuel for a living.
Yeah, right? Think about it in terms of how much fossil fuel. I wonder if you could see
Yeah.
like a chart, how much fossil fuel the average person burns.
Oh, I would not be doing well on that. That would not be, I would not do well with the tree huggers or vegans of the world, all the people loving animals like me. I'm all those people. I
Yeah.
love the forest. I try and eat vegetables most of the time, things like that. But yeah, I also don't do my part when it comes to my job.
What kind of car do you drive?
So I've had cars for years through the manufacturer. So this past year we were sponsored by Ford, so I had a Ford Expedition EL. I didn't know what EL meant. It means extra long.
Oh, so you
I
got
had
extra space in the back.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Why don't they hook you up with a Mustang Shelby?
Well,
One of
that's not very practical.
GT350s?
Yeah, I
Woo!
don't think we weren't even allowed to customize the wheels on that thing. So
What?
yeah, it was bare bones.
Because that was part of the contract?
It's
They want you to
what
drive
you're allowed. You get a car,
exactly.
but you can't get anything dressed up. So
Why didn't they hook you up with a Raptor? Something fun.
I could have had a Raptor, I guess,
Why
but
didn't you get it?
maybe like trucks aren't really me.
Whatever. Thing's fun.
Better than the EL.
Yeah. Well, EL's not bad.
But yeah. So and then I had a Tahoe, and I drove for Chevy before that.
I would think that you would want something fast.
So then I bought my first car in, what's the last car I bought? Oh yeah, a long time ago I bought a Mercedes ML63 AMG. It was like a SUV, souped up SUV. That was a long time ago. That was like 10 years ago. I bought a Range Rover.
So since then, you've just been using manufacturer cars
Yep.
from the sponsors?
Because they're $3.
Yeah.
And they're not, whatever. It's free is free.
Is that like a part of the contract? Like that's the
Yeah.
only car you're allowed to drive?
Probably not, but
But that's the only
if
car
you're
you
going to drive
drove.
to the racetrack, probably
Right.
want to drive in your
Yeah.
company car.
Yeah, probably good move. Yeah.
Yeah, but other drivers have other cars too.
But do you think that once you retire, you will start like going, God damn, I think I need to get something fast?
I'm not a car girl.
What?
Nope, not
What?
a car girl. I'm sorry to disappoint
What does
you.
that mean? How'd you even say those words?
I know.
How'd you just say I'm not a car? Do you know who you are?
Yes, and
You're
I'm not
Danica
a car
Patrick.
girl. I know.
You're a race car driver, woman.
I don't even know how many cylinders are in things. I just drive them. I'm just good at that.
You don't know how many cylinders?
I don't know. I think we have 8.
That's so crazy.
I just lost so many fans.
Yeah, how can you be such a good driver and not know anything about cars?
I don't need to.
It's a good way of looking at it.
I don't build it. I don't.
It's true.
I didn't have to go to school for engineering. Remember the beginning
That's
of our
right.
talk?
10 years old.
10 years old.
I remember.
So yeah, I can drive them.
You need to get yourself one of those new Shelby GT500s, 700
yeah.
horsepower.
Yeah, I've
They
seen
just
one.
announced it.
Oh, a Shelby.
New one. Ford
Oh,
Mustang.
okay, not the GT, not the GT500 or the.
Oh, you mean the Ford GT?
GT.
Yeah,
Yeah, not
no, that's
that
pretty
one.
crazy too. But
Yeah.
Shelby just put
Yeah.
out a new Mustang. But the problem with those Ford GTs, they're awesome, but the paddle shifts.
You want a manual?
Yeah.
You want a stick?
Yeah, I like sticks. Yeah, it's more fun.
It is.
Yeah, it's just
Still more racy.
it's just more fun. Yeah, I have a Bronco, a 1971 Bronco, and
saw
even
it down there.
driving that is it's a stick. It's like it's not that fast, but it's just
feeds your testosterone.
Mechanical. It's mechanical. You feel it's analog.
I just like my car to be good off the line. I bought a Lamborghini a long while back, and it didn't have a cup holder. So I was like, well, this is stupid. This is not practical. So, yeah. So then I bought the Mercedes.
And that had a cup holder.
That had a couple cup holders, yep. So it was good. But then, technology evolved, and it didn't have Bluetooth to play my music. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to get rid of this. And that was when I started driving for Chevy, and then I got a Tahoe, and I liked that. And then I got an
So you're driving for Chevy, and they didn't give you a Corvette?
I didn't ask for one.
How could you not want one? You were driving for
Chevy. I needed
a
practical car. If I wanted a Corvette, I could buy one.
Oh, okay. I know you could, but I would say, come on, hook it up.
I'm not. Yeah,
Come on, Chevy.
I'm not a car girl. We went over this.
I don't understand this though. I keep wanting to catch you in that lie.
No, I don't care. I have cars are like purses for me. I just need one nice one, and when it wears out, I'll get a new one.
You don't like purses?
Not really.
Oh,
I don't
you're
really
a
care.
weird girl.
I just needed one that looks good and performs.
Just one. That's it.
Yeah.
What about shoes?
No, I like shoes.
Oh, okay.
I have a lot of shoes.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you're a girl.
I'm definitely a girl.
But not purses. What about
curled
jewelry?
I curled my own hair today.
Whoa, that's crazy. How'd
Did
you
my
do
own
it?
makeup. Yeah.
You okay?
My shoulder hurts a little bit, but hairspray. What is this stuff now? I'm very much a girl.
I believe you.
That's what, if people ask me, what is it about you that people would be surprised, and I tell them I'm like much more girly away from the track than you'd think, because I'm really aggressive at the track and I don't look very happy, and away from the track I try and be funny and I smile more and I'm much more relaxed.
Are you surprised that with all your success and all the attention that you've gotten from your success as the only woman on your level in professional racing, are you surprised that more women aren't entering in, that you haven't like sort of opened the door, or do you think that it's such a specialized and unique thing to do that it's just not something that a lot of women gravitate towards?
I used to say that for 100 men that came through, if you found it takes 100 to find a good one. That comes pretty quickly, but to go through 100 women takes a lot longer because there are so few of them. There are more coming through, but I just think that over time it just takes a lot longer to find good ones. But I don't know. I think back to this is my ego talking. I think back to a long time ago when Paul Newman was still alive, and we were on a late night show together, probably Letterman. And he was asked before I went on, he was the first guest, if there was going to be another girl that comes through that compares to me. And he said he didn't think so. Maybe there won't be. Maybe
Paul
there will
Newman
be.
knew his shit.
Yeah.
He knew his shit. Maybe, I mean, you're unique.
I'm sure there will be someday.
But I meet a lot of women like you because of MMA.
Oh.
There's those savages that enter into MMA. The women that wind up fighting in MMA, there's a lot of them. And I'm kind of stunned at how many of them there are. But when I say they're like you, I mean they're bold, powerful, unique people they just take wild chances. I mean, the type of person that is like a Holly Holm or something like that. So
I think the big difference lies in there are a lot of people that are strong, aggressive, confident, assertive, bold, but to then be able to keep it together and up above their shoulders, that's the difference.
Keep it together in the pressure of a race.
Yeah, and the pressure of whatever moment you're having, whatever pressures are being put on you around an event or for one. I mean, that's really hard. The right people around you, being able to filter the shit and let in, like, keep the good, keep your own confidence up. That's hard. That's the hardest part. And then being able to flip that switch when you're performing to, of course, then to not have doubts, but more confidence. I think everything that you said would be mirrored by what a woman who competes at the very highest levels of MMA would say. I think they would find all those things to be factors. It's just I'm really stunned that you literally are the only one. I mean, that's an incredibly rare position. Do you ever stop and think about, like, what if you weren't there? It's not like it's No, I don't.
forbidden for women.
I never thought about it like that. I've mostly only thought about it from the perspective of like, have I thought about what I've done in the sport? Because it's stuff that people haven't done before. And usually my answer is that someday I'll look back and, you know, be able to have a little bit more perspective on it. But right now I'm just kind of in the middle of it. But yeah, I've never thought about it like that. Like, what if I was never there?
Yeah, I mean, you're the only one. So if you were never there, it would just be constantly a boys' club forever. I mean, I'm really fascinated by complete outliers. I mean, you're a complete outlier in that regard. I mean, there's not like 30 girls. Oh, there's 500 men, but there's 30 girls. No.
Yeah,
How many men are NASCAR drivers?
well, the field is 40.
Yeah, so it's 40 men, 1 chick. That's crazy. And then there's a bunch of people that are trying to do it. Like, are there any women that are trying to get
On the
in
lower
there?
formulas, there's some that do some part-time stuff, and I'm trying to think if someone has done like a full season. I don't know. Back in IndyCar, there was some girls who did more. There were like at one Indy 500, there was like 5 of us, but most of the time there's none or one. Comes in waves.
Do you stop? I mean, do you think that when you stop and you look back in your career, you'll take into account and maybe have a more objective sense of what an impact that you've had?
Sure.
For women.
Yeah, of course, but I need distance
Right.
from it. I need to gain perspective that way. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. I mean,
Sure, in your career too. Like, I mean, to be able to identify the things that you've done, the influence you've had over people, with the conversations you've had, with the things in business you've done. I mean, it's hard to see when you're in the middle of it.
yeah, I don't look at that.
You don't want to look at that?
No.
Oh,
I'm not
why?
interested because I don't want to get distracted. It's
There
like,
you
keep
go.
doing
That's
what
why
I'm
people
doing.
don't in the moment,
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but what I'm doing, a lot of people are doing. What you're doing is very. It's just to be a woman that does the thing that many men think is probably one of the most manly things you could do, other than fighting and maybe football.
Yeah.
It's like race car driver. Like, ask a little boy, what do you want to be when you grow up, Billy? I want to be a race car driver. I mean, that's just.
Lightning McQueen.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a natural thing for
Yeah.
men to gravitate towards. And
Dad always said, he was just like, gosh, I had cursed with 3 girls in the house, because my mom and then me and my sister. And I'm like, Dad, what more did you want? Like, what more did you want if you had a boy as a son? Like, what was he going to do that's
Right.
cooler than what I'm doing?
He'd be out there banging chicks. That's what he's missing.
You think my dad would think that was cool for him?
If his son was banging chicks, I would think probably, that's my boy. Yeah. I
Instead,
guess.
he's scared shitless for me.
Yeah, that's got to be.
I think still in my adult life, it's like,
Well, if they had the courage to let you go to England by yourself when you were 16, I mean, that, and race over there on another continent,
Yeah.
like all the way across an ocean.
Yeah.
So that if you did get hurt, to get to you would take forever.
yeah. Bold.
What is the worst crash you've ever been in?
My first crash in IndyCar, so my very first race.
Whoa.
Kind of paralleled getting in a go-kart for the first time, having a big crash. But yeah, it was Homestead, Miami, and there was a big accident, and I was running low, and someone was sliding down the track that had damage, and they clipped my right rear and shot me up and into the wall head first, and slid down the track. And I don't remember that part. I don't remember getting out. I don't remember walking to the ambulance, but there's footage of all of it. And I walked the wrong way away from the ambulance. I was walking the opposite direction, and then I was kind of like stumbling around, and then I got back to the medical truck, and then I got in, and apparently I was very repetitive on the way to the hospital, and I kept asking them, did it look bad? And they're like, you've asked us that a few times, honey.
You
and
must
I'm
have
like,
had a concussion.
oh,
right?
I'll just stop. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a severe concussion. That's one of the things that happens. Is people ask the same questions over and over again.
Well, then I've had one. Let's hope I don't have
Oh.
CTE.
I'm sure you probably do.
I probably
A
do.
little bit.
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
Just a dabble.
little touch.
won't matter.
Makes you more risky.
Does it?
Oh, yeah.
It does.
Yeah, that's
I
one
might
of the
get
things.
crazy.
That's one of the things it does. It makes people more impulsive.
Do UFC people get?
Yeah. 100%. Did you see that video?
Are they doing studies in UFC like they did in the NFL with doing tests after they've passed away to know if like they had CTE? Isn't that what NFL had? There was a study that came out last year. It was like almost all but 1 out of 100 and some had CTE.
Yeah, it was. I forget the numbers, but yeah, there was only like 1 or 2 people that didn't have it.
Right.
Yeah.
Out
No,
of
the
100
UFC
odd.
hasn't done that. The UFC hasn't been around as long as the NFL, obviously. So we're not dealing with the same
Right.
data pool, but I'm sure when people do pass away, we're going to find it. It's just varying levels.
I heard they actually have a test now for CTE. I was
Yeah, I've heard
talking
that
to a
too.
trauma surgeon that
for
said
when
that
you're
there's
alive. Yeah.
Yeah, mhm.
Yeah. It's a
I don't
new
know
thing.
if What would you do if you had it?
Make excuses. I just go extra crazy.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, that's why I'm gambling naked. Whoa! Bottle of whiskey in each arm. Yeah.
Who, her? I don't know who
I
she
got hit in
is.
the head. I got hit in the head. It ain't even my fault. Chug, pills.
So insightful, this question.
Did you see the video that just came out from a couple of days ago from the guy that hit the off-ramp and went flying through the air and landed in a house in the second floor of a house? His car's poking out the side.
No, but he couldn't do it again if he had to, I'm sure.
No, it's just total random crazy luck.
Yeah.
But it is hilarious. I mean,
Really?
It is, yeah. And see if once you find it, go to Chris D'Elia's Instagram, because D'Elia had a hilarious meme that he created about it. But this car hit like a barrier, hit one of those cement barriers, and literally got launched into the air and stuck into the second floor of a building.
Everybody make it?
I don't know.
What country was this in?
This is America.
America?
America.
America.
2 people escaped the injury. Their serious injuries.
How the fuck I wonder how they got out of the car. I mean, it's the way it's hanging out of the building.
Nope. Yeah, just hopefully it's front wheel drive and they could keep accelerating to get a little further in so they could get out of the car.
That's spoken like a true race car
There
driver.
you go.
You're thinking about it that way. Yeah, here it is. Here's the video footage so you can see it. And there's the car. Watch this. It hits. See, this is that. It's hard to tell there, but they literally went across traffic. They're
Oh my God.
speeding. You can see it again. The guy goes across traffic,
jeez.
flies
Oh
into the
my
air.
gosh.
But see, go to Chris D'Elia's page, his Instagram page, and find the meme, because then you can see that. And so let's get this, guys. Oh, that's Chris D'Elia's there. He says, come over. Me, I can't tonight. Her, my parents are on the first floor and I'm on the second floor, and I have Bitcoins. Me.
Oh, God. That's epic.
I mean, that fucking car is stuck inside that building. I mean, you
Wow.
wouldn't believe that was real. If you didn't see it there. Mm-hmm.
He might need that dentist office that he just parked himself at after that.
Yeah, here's the question. What do you do if you're in the car? Like, it gets stuck there. Do you even climb
Well,
out?
you're probably drunk. You got to be drunk, right?
Right.
I mean, there's nobody or something. So you open the door and you
Do you wait?
You take on the sprained ankle and you jump
Ooh,
and you
Jesus.
run.
Well, and then it lands on your fucking head. The thing falls out of the building.
No.
and it
I'm
crushes
supposed to
you.
say the right thing here. You call the cops. You are honest. You
Well, there's a video. There's
get
a
the
video.
bitcoins and then you go.
Oh my god, that's funny. Who put up the video? Where's the video from?
on Twitter.
Some dude's name. What is his name? Kenny Holmes. It's K Holmes Live. He's the guy who he's from NBC LA, I guess.
Minor injuries.
That's crazy. Oh, Santa Ana. Santa Ana people are out of their fucking mind. That's where Eddie Bravo's from. Santa Ana people. Boom! Look at that car flying through the air. It's just the fact that it's stuck into the building that's just so ridiculous.
It's probably for a movie.
Now, when you drive in regular life, are you a lead foot?
I'm a very aggressive driver.
I knew it.
Yes, I am. I have a large comfort zone, I say. People piss me off a lot. They're horrible drivers, and I'm very yeah. The only way I can make sure that I don't get a speeding ticket is to not drive.
How many speeding tickets have you gotten?
Oh, I've been pulled over at least 20 times for sure. I got pulled over 3 times in 3 days at one point when I had my Mustang Cobra, my first ever car.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus. See, that's why I'm surprised you don't have a fast car.
Oh, I always make sure it's a good car like that, fast car. But I
mean, like today, like right now.
like
Like when you're driving around.
pulling up.
No. I mean, your everyday life.
Yeah, well, I'm driving rentals because I don't live here.
I mean, here. I mean, in real life.
In real life. Oh, yeah. Like, where's my sports car?
Yeah.
Ah, well, 40 weeks a year I do that.
So you
I need
get
a people
enough of
mover.
it.
I got 2 dogs.
Right. So you get enough of it.
All my bags.
I feel like I'm trying to sell you a car.
What car should I buy?
I would say something American. Something.
Would you? Do you like American-made cars?
Yeah, I like
See, I tend to.
V8.
I don't care if they are or aren't really.
Well, I have a Porsche. I
Okay.
like German cars too. They're
little-
more reliable. What I like about American cars is I like the sound. I like the way there's a rumble.
A throatiness
There's
to
a
it.
something to it.
You like? Do you like? So you like to make noise on the road?
I'm a loud person.
What?
Yeah. I have a 65 Corvette with straight pipes, those side pipes.
Yeah.
Super
I
loud.
kind of know what that is.
Yeah.
I can picture it, kind of.
You're a race car driver, but it's a stick.
I know.
That's what's important.
I don't. Yeah.
You don't care.
Nope.
But I would feel like for someone like you, once you transition away from racing, then it's going to be more important to you because you're going to like miss the capabilities of those things.
That might be true.
Yeah.
That might be true. I might have to.
Oh, there's my car.
Oh, that is a good-looking car.
Sweet car.
Jay Leno, of
America.
course. Of course, he loves cars.
Yeah.
I'm not, and I also don't really like old cars. So that looks pretty good. It's pretty fancy looking. But yeah, I'm a new car person. I like new, modern sports cars.
I do as well, but that car is a 65 on the outside, but all the underpinnings are completely modern. It has a LS1 supercharged engine, so it has a modern Corvette engine. It's got modern brakes, modern suspension. You don't know what any of that stuff means, do you?
Nope.
That's crazy.
I know that my very first car, my Mustang Cobra, I drove it so hard that I needed, in 8,000 miles, I was on my third set of brakes. We put stiffer sway bars in it so that it would handle better. It was, I went through three sets. Yeah, I was on my third set of brakes in 8,000 miles.
And now you say Mustang Cobra, like what year was this?
Oh, this is my first ever car. So I was 16. So I think it was a 97. It was, I'm not saying they're not cool, but it was back when they were more cool, when, they were a lot less common.
Yeah, they were okay back then.
Kind of the back end of the Cobra cool days. Like,
Yeah. No, the 97s were okay. They were all right. Like around the 80s is when they came out with the 5.0, and then like Mustangs had a little bit more power again.
So what's your dream car then?
That Corvette. That's my
Oh.
favorite car.
Oh, now what then?
No, drive that around
Do you drive it much?
all the time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it
Yeah.
doesn't really rain in California, so I guess you can.
Well, it has a top. You put
Do you
the top
drive it in
on
the
if
rain?
rains. I have.
Oh, good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. It's just a car.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm not afraid of it getting wet. The only problem is it's slippery. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it
have
doesn't
any
handle very
traction
well.
control or any of that. It's just all engine and power and
Yeah.
torque and but it's fun.
Yeah, I remember driving a Camaro around in the rain, and it was handled like crap.
You should get one of the new ones. Camaro ZL1. They have a new one, 650 horsepower. It's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, nobody even barely uses the full speed of.
What do we got here?
I don't know. What am I? Oh, so I was actually going to tell you about this. This is I did a Road and Track cover article where I test drove. It was a Porsche, Corvette. I think it was a Viper of some sort, Viper, and then there was a Lamborghini Murcielago. And my experience was the Porsche was loose, which is this one. The Corvette was tight, which meant it was the most comfortable and stable to drive. I think it was a Viper. The Viper was just light on its feet, kind of. It just it wasn't very stuck, and it was just kind of clunky.
That
Kinda.
looks like it's about 7 or 8 years old. Is that right?
Oh, at least,
That
yeah,
video?
yeah.
Yeah, maybe
and
10.
then the Lamborghini was also light. I mean, it just went so fast, but it's pretty well balanced, but probably a little on the loose side. So
They stopped making Vipers, but I know the car for you. There's
What?
a car that's for sale right now that I saw
it
this
yours?
morning. No. I'm trying to sell you a car. This whole
I know.
No, Jopo Link had a rare this one dealership in 2017 in the country bought up like 90% of the Vipers, and they ordered them in a bunch of crazy paint schemes, and they ordered this hot pink Viper.
shut up.
Yeah.
You want me to drive a pink car?
You got to see it. I'd drive it. It's so fucking badass. I'd drive it. How
See, I
about
think
that?
it's cooler if a dude would drive a pink car and I would drive like some stainless steel silver,
I would drive it, and then I'd get a rainbow license plate, so people would just assume I'm gay. There's no way around it. Got a rainbow plate. You got a pink car.
Just let it all.
Have
yeah.
you found it? Isn't it? It's shit. It was on my Google News feed this morning. I looked at that. I was like, if I was a chick, that'd be my fucking car. But it's like crazy metallic, hot pink Viper.
It's not like the Mary Kay car.
No, that's not it. That's old. That shit's old.
That's red.
Yeah, that's red.
I like red.
It's 2017. It might not even be Jopalink. I might think that was what I was reading.
Well, I'm not going to drive it.
Okay.
Nope.
You don't have to pull it up.
That's a good thought, but
You would rather have black? Let me guess.
black.
Yeah.
I like
knew it.
black.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Tinted windows.
Black.
Yep.
Black wheels, black.
Whoa. Darkness.
Yeah.
Like a Darth Vader type thing.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So badass.
More masculine than
Yeah.
feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what kind of. Oh, there it is.
That's not it, but
Oh, geez,
that's an
that's-
old one too.
That's terrible.
But it's all right. No
That's-
worries.
That's
That
not,
looks gross.
that's-
That one looks gross.
Okay. Whew.
The other one didn't look so gross. It's more of a darker pink. You don't have to find it, Jamie. Forget it. Give it up. She's gonna hate it no matter what. She wants Darth Vader.
Those pink Corvettes that Angeline drives around town.
I saw her the other day. I saw her driving that. Do you know who Angeline is?
No.
Angeline is a woman who, when I moved to California in the 90s, she used to have these billboards all around California.
Of what?
It's her.
Oh.
Her, like, in her bikini.
Okay.
Like,
What's she
and it would
promoting?
just say her. It would just say her name and her phone
Oh.
number. And that's see
Wow.
those billboards?
Oh shoot. Well, hey.
Yeah, that's
well,
her.
hey.
And so and I'd be like, who the fuck is Angeline? And everybody would be like, oh, she's like this local celebrity. And so she apparently is just a wealthy lady who all of her time here has done that. Just got these
Likes
big
the
billboards.
attention.
Yeah. And she's doing a split on the top of a Corvette. Look at that. Okay.
Is that a good thing?
For
Is it
her,
working?
maybe.
Is it working?
She kept doing it, so
Whew.
she still does it, right? Does she still have a billboard?
Not a billboard, but she has at least 3 different pink Corvettes now.
Oh, I've seen her
various
really
ones.
recently in the pink Corvette.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
But
Okay, not me.
Not you, definitely
not
not,
me.
you.
No, I'm more of your subdue. Actually, when I got the Lamborghini and I had to go pick my sister up from the airport. Okay, there's nowhere to put your bags. It's like a briefcase for a trunk,
Yeah.
and it's in the front. So that was kind of silly. And then I realized that people normally get these cars so they can just like kind of take it out to dinner. I don't want to be looked at. So I'm more likely to take it to go get groceries than I am to go to dinner. So I realized it was pretty pointless for me.
Yeah, that's not the car for you.
And if I want performance, I go do my job
For now.
for now.
But when it's over, that's what I'm trying to look. I'm trying to keep
Trying
you
to help
sane.
me. You're looking forward.
Yeah. I'm looking forward. After these next 2
Well,
races.
We'll have to visit again in a year
Okay.
from now and have to figure it all out. I'll tell you you're right probably.
Well, in a year from now, then the new Corvette ZR1 will be available. 750 horsepower.
Stupid, you're
0
never
to
going to use
60 in
it.
2 seconds.
I mean-
You're never going to use it.
Well, you might
Says-
use the 0
You've
to
got
60.
150 speeding tickets. Who are you talking to? You're never
It's
going to
true.
use it.
It's true. Nobody got a speeding ticket for getting the speed limit too quickly though.
That's true. Yeah. Well, they probably would pull you over anyway. How the
Actually, I got
fuck
a
did
funny
you do
story
that?
about when I got pulled over when I was 16 with my Mustang Cobra. I was picking my girlfriend up and pulling out of off of her street onto the main street, and it was wet out. And so I kind of got it going and kicked it sideways a little bit and looked in my rearview mirror at the stoplight, and there's a cop sitting there. Well, he comes for me. So I turn on the first road I can find. So I make a left, drive down the road. It's a freaking dead end. So I pull into a driveway and we slouch down real low. And the cop kind of drives around, and all of a sudden somebody comes out from the house and they're like, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, what road is this out here? I mean, mind you, it's the road I live off of. I'm like, what road is this out here? So anyway, so we're like, oh, okay, thank you, sure. And so we get back in the car and the cop's gone. So we back out and head back down the road again, trying to get further away from the stoplight, make a left. I look over in the parking lot across the street, the grade school parking lot. Cops sitting there. So I make the first right I can then. So I turn right into a neighborhood and I'm driving along and he finally catches me. And I think I cried to help my situation.
Did he turn his lights on? So you were running from him?
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
This guy sounds like a shitty driver. Like a shitty cop.
But I think I got in trouble for being sideways, not for
Right.
speeding.
Yeah, you should say, it's
So-
my boyfriend's car. I don't even know how to drive this thing.
That would have been actually a clever approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just say, I don't know what happened. I hit the gas and it went
That
sideways.
was part of my getting pulled over 3 times in 3 days episode. So
Oh.
that was number 3, I think. I cried. Maybe it was number 2.
So is that why you were running from the cops? Like, I can't keep doing this.
I was just trying to see if I could get away. Trying to just get away.
Well, Danica, I think I've kept you long enough. It was really wonderful to talk to you.
Yeah,
I
you
really
too.
appreciate it. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was
I wish
fun.
you all the best of luck with your wine and
Thank
your
you.
clothes and your last 2 races. And it was a pleasure.
Thank you. So
Thank
nice
you.
to talk to you. Let's
Nice
check
to talk
back
to you
in
too.
about the whole car situation
Yes.
next year.
And next year, you're going to want to get something crazy. I guarantee. Once you're done.
When I tell you I'm missing the action, I'll let you just call the car I should buy.
Sounds like a plan. Danica Patrick, ladies and gentlemen. That was fun.